Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Archery in Paris. Thank you so much for joining us as we are on our first day of 5 over the next week of coverage from Archery in Paris. And we are so excited to be here and to have this watch party with you. We're live, obviously, on our channels, YouTube, as well as Archery Plus. And we have an amazing panel that are going to bring you some commentary of this Archery in Paris as we watch along with you. So let's get right into it. First part, bottom left-hand part of your screen, please welcome Korean compound archer, an amazing person. This is So Chaewon. How are you, Chaewon? How's it going? And where are you? And
Hello,
tell
how
us a
are
little bit
you?
about yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm in Korea and I'm in compound archer national team. I've started with recurve, but recurve is really hard part in Korea, especially. So I'm shooting compound.
It's great to have you here. And of course, you have tons of world archery experience in your career, don't you?
Oh yes. Yeah, I've become national team in Korea after 4 years of being shooting compound, and then I'm in national team for 11, 7 years old. 7 years. Yeah, it has been 7 years,
Awesome.
and then yeah, first year when I became the national, I won several medals in World Cup, and then next year I got individual medal, and then I'm still and I did some indoors, of course. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where we met a few years ago, coming to the States, Vegas, and
yeah,
some other indoor stuff. It's been great. Yep. All right. We can't wait to hear
yeah,
your
Vegas,
insight
right?
into this. And the middle part of the left is Lloyd Brown, who is a gold medal winning coach. Lloyd, welcome to the show. Welcome to Archery in Paris. Where are you right now, and what's going on in your life?
Howdy. Yeah, I'm down in Southampton in the south of England right now.
And you opened it up with howdy.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So obviously you
yeah.
don't have a
Well,
British
I'm an
accent. Where are you
American,
from, pal?
originally from San Diego, California. That's where I grew up. But then I coached the '96 and 2000 U.S. Olympic teams. Then I got hired to coach the 2012 British Olympic archery team. So I moved over here, and I've been here 14 years now. I'm mainly a coach developer, work with the coach development programs, and also work in our youth academies, developing the next group of archers.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about that over the course of these next couple hours. As today's is the women team finals, and we're going to be talking more about that. But let's get to bottom part of your screen next to me. You've seen him before on our watch parties in World Archery. Bernardo Oliveira, welcome. You're our statistician. How are things going for you?
Hello, Greg. Hello, everyone. So happy to be a part of this with this brilliant team. So thanks for the invite and for the opportunity to be here. So I'm Bernardo Oliveira, Brazilian Olympic archer, shot the Olympics in Rio 2016, home soil. Have won medals in Continental Games, Continental Championships, two-time national champion. I even shot the first stage of the World Cup, Archery World Cup this year in Shanghai, China. And in the other two, I had the pleasure of doing the watch along with you, Greg, and Vanessa, who's in Paris on site doing amazing stuff. So yeah, I'll be trying to bring some nice stats here today. And just to wrap up my first talk here, I'm talking from Lausanne, Switzerland, at the World Archery Excellence Center.
Excellent to have you here. And definitely the best addition to the team and critical component to our team is Lucy O'Sullivan, who is going to be our arrow plotter. And we're going to learn more about that. But Lucy, how are you today? Where are you? And what's the big deal you have going on today for us?
So I'm Lucy O'Sullivan. I was on the Great Britain team for about on and off for about 20 years. Lloyd, actually, he sold himself short there. He also helped us compound archers at one point. So yeah, thank you, Lloyd, for all your help over the years. I got the honor to go to Shanghai on site and do some on-site stuff this year. So followed the World Cups last year, and this year got to do your watch-alongs as well. But today, it's not just a watch-along for me. I get to plot the arrows for everyone on this show. So, you know, give me a chance. I hope it'll all go okay for us today.
It's going to be great. So if you're watching us here, Archery in Paris, of course, if you're want to watch the matches, then you've got to find out locally where you are. And we're going to be bringing you information as we see it on a separate screen. So if you have access to watch the competitions that are coming up, you can join us on another window that you could open up, or another device like your phone or an iPad or whatever. And we're going to be talking along as we do this. So what Lucy's going to be doing is plotting those arrows. So we're going to be talking about those as well. Well, let's get to my panel here. So I know it's going to be a little muddied waters for us because there's 5 people that are going to be talking all at one time. But let's talk a little bit about some of the big stories that we have for the women's team finals today. Without question, the biggest deal, I think, is the fact that for the Korean women's recurve team, new world records were set. Pretty impressive. Chaewon, what's the vibe, and what was kind of the news in Korea about what happened in the qualification rounds for individual, and of course when you combine the 3 women for those records that were set?
Of
How
course,
was it?
you guys know that in Korea, it's really stressful with the title. The 10 gold medal could be possible or not, and I think the athletes is not that stressed as we can imagine, because they really want to try enjoying. And as you can see in qualification, Lim Si-han made world record. That was really amazing score. So I think they are really in confidence and really want to performance of what they prepared. So I think it's really positive. Yeah.
Now, for Lloyd, for you, as we look at some of the information that came out about a 694, Lloyd, you've been in the pressure cooker that is the magnitude of this tournament. How impressive is it not just to set a world record, but to do it in this environment under this pressure, knowing that this is the largest tournament in the world every 4 years?
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing because it is kind of a one-time, one chance. And of course, you never know what the weather and what, other things it's going to bring to you, but just the pressure of it being an Olympics. So to come out and shoot a world record in that is always really quite amazing, because you could do a world record. You have so many other chances to do that, but to do it at the big event is awesome.
And so, Bernardo, real quick question for you. We looked at the women's score versus the men's score, and part of the talking point is that the world record was set, and it was the highest score, period, between men and women. But there's a little bit of a story to that, isn't it? Because they don't shoot exactly at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. At the games, men and women rotate on whether one shoot in the morning or the afternoon. So here in Paris, for Paris Olympics, we had the women shooting in the morning and then the men shooting in the afternoon. So in Tokyo, it was the other way around, the men shooting first. And the conditions were just perfect in the morning, like no wind at all. And the conditions have to be like that in order to break a world record. It's mind-blowing for anyone to even challenge a world record with the wind blowing the arrows all over the place. But then in the afternoon, the wind was really a factor. And so just the scores that we've seen by so many athletes, we usually see in the World Cups, lots of athletes breaking, not lots, but a couple of athletes breaking the 690 barrier. And here we had no one. Kim Woo-jin ranked first with 688, I believe. So yeah, it just goes to show that the conditions were really challenging. But nonetheless, a world record is amazing, and just goes to show that it had been standing for 5 years. And as Lloyd said, she came and she broke the record in the big stage. It's phenomenal.
Now, Lucy, have you had a chance to see in early days, Vanessa, obviously Lee, who's there on site, has been doing some amazing social media posts. But did you get a chance to see the size of that stadium as to where the finals are and where these archers are going to be shooting?
Yeah, so it's in front of Invalides. It's like on the Rue Invalides. And it was Napoleon's tomb. So the Emperor of France, I think it's where it was supposedly his tomb. It is absolutely incredible down there. Like it's basically this huge structure with a gold roof. Honestly, it's insane. If anyone is walking past and gets the chance, if anyone's near Paris today, I really hope that they get to go down and see it. It's insane. It's so beautiful.
The size, like the size of the grandstands where they're expecting fans to be, if they fill that thing, I don't think that anyone's ever shot at a larger venue. Jawan, with all your world archery experience and obviously your experience in Korea, which is an incredible archery ecosystem in itself, have you ever shot at
Sorry.
a place
Yeah.
where there could be thousands and thousands of people that are watching?
That yeah, I can see. I saw the invalids. It's really amazing and really big. So I cannot even imagine how it feels like. So many people are there around and watching. Is really under pressure.
Yeah, we're getting pictures
If
now on our feed. We're getting pictures of the event, and I mean, for generally what we see is when we have the team finals, you get a good crowd, but when we get to the individual matches, which are going to be in 5 or 6 days from now, we see the stadium fill up a little bit more. But already the pictures that I'm seeing are pretty incredible. We're looking at a weather forecast right now on our picture. It's 28.3 degrees centigrade. The humidity is pretty mild, but the pictures that we're watching right now, you can see the French flag flying at the top, and it's the wind is blowing, at least up there. Up there, it's blowing on top of the building. So this is what we have coming up: women's team quarterfinals, and the first match we're going to have is Netherlands versus India. Then we're going to have Korea versus Chinese Taipei, Mexico versus Germany, and Indonesia versus China. Now, Lloyd, let's talk about this because we have 64 athletes across the board on the women's side and the men's side, but not every athlete is eligible for team rounds. What qualifies a country to even participate in team rounds?
Well, the qualification process was really, really difficult, and it was also quite complicated, and a lot of people didn't always understand it. Um, but it started out kind of regionally. They wanted to make sure World Archery wanted to make sure that that not one region could maybe dominate, so they had regional competitions. But very often you had to be in the first or second place in order to get that position, because there's only 12 teams. To be in those 12 teams in the world, that's a massive accomplishment on its own. To be in those, to earn those spots, to get to the Olympics, was really a big effort, and it really means that only the best are there, because there were so many that tried, and there were a lot of really good teams that also just didn't make it and didn't make the cut as well. But yeah, the system of getting there was quite drawn out, and I know the British teams got it at the final qualification, at the kind of the last chance, at the last minute. So yeah, it is difficult.
And obviously, there's a lot of slots that were earned that were individuals. Just one person from a country going. United States is a good example. The women qualified 3 spots. On the men's side, only 1 spot. So obviously, you only have one archer. You're not competing in the team. Well, the teams have made their way to the field of play right now. So we have the Netherlands have taken the field, and India. So they're introducing the athletes right now. So pretty standard process. If you've watched any of World Archery events, World Archery, of course, running this Archery in Paris event. And so it's going to be very familiar to a lot of people that are dialed into archery. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube that are new to archery, welcome. This is Recurve Archery. There are 2 main kind of classes of archery, I guess you could say. So Chewan, who joins us, obviously shoots a compound bow, which currently is not in the Olympics. But Chewan, you're so young. If it ever gets to the Olympics, do you have Olympic dreams if compound ever makes it?
Yes, of course. I hope so, because I really looked in positive in LA Olympic, but it's actually not happened. So maybe next time, if I still shooting.
Yeah, that is the question, right? And of course, with these games, the fact that, you know, it's every 4 years most of the time. Obviously, we had a skip with what happened with COVID. So it's been 3 years since we've seen this competition. But let's talk a little bit, Bernardo, while we have you here, before the stats get rolling, let's talk a little bit about the field of play. So for people that are watching the feed on another channel, tell us a little bit about the distance we're shooting, the size of the target we're shooting, that Lucy's going to be plotting, and all that basic stuff.
Yeah, it's quite mind-blowing. Usually on tele, we have a tendency to have a feeling that it's actually closer, but the targets are 70 meters away from the shooting line. To give perspective, that's not much less than a football field or a soccer field or football. I guess it's kind of the same. So yeah, it's quite far. The target is 122 centimeters wide. Scores ranging from 1 to 10. But at the Olympic level, the yellow ring 10 and 9 is all that matters, and it's only 24.4 centimeters wide. The yellow, I mean, and the 10 is 12.2, so it's kind of the size of a grapefruit. And we're going to see many arrows hitting the 10, and imagine that 70 meters away. It's quite mind-blowing.
All right, so we're getting ready to shoot our first arrow for these quarterfinal. It is the Netherlands versus India, and it looks to me, looking at the field of play, India's going to start us off. So, as we watch the first arrow, team rounds are extremely interesting. As the first arrow goes off, you have a time, you have a clock. So the first arrow hits, and it looks like Lucy's job is tough. Straight out of the box. Looks like it's got to be a 6-7 liner. So Lucy up there, top left part of your screen, plotting our arrows for us.
I've got you guys, don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Starting off with a nice 10. Now, Lloyd, from your perspective, how would you, as a coach, determine what order your archers are going to shoot in? Would you have influence on that, or would you leave it up to the shooters to make their own decision? Left side 7.
I think it's both. We kind of talk it over, who might be best where and why. Some are just naturally more comfortable in one place rather than another. I always like to get your best shooter off first to get that first arrow in the 10, because that just gives their whole team confidence. Usually put the newer shooter or the least experienced shooter in the middle, because they tend to have the least pressure. They're not shooting the first or the last arrow. And then your last arrow, you want somebody who can really shoot under pressure and also can shoot fast if they need to. If the team's running short on time, somebody who you really know can shoot an arrow quick if they have to.
How's it going, Lucy? You getting it all?
Can you see the scores updating?
Yeah,
Here
we
we
can.
go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Confirmed.
Like it. I like it. Chawan, let's talk
seems
about
quite
team rounds. The pressure of team rounds, like the clock, how you manage the clock. Where in the order of these shooters do you prefer to shoot? And just like getting an arrow knocked up and all the pressure that goes and the line and not crossing the line and all this crazy stuff. How do you like team rounds, and how do you deal with the pressure?
I prefer to shoot in first because for the first shooter, I stand back in the shooting line and waiting line, and then I can see the green light on, then I just go into the shooting line, then I can make it start. So if I'm in really good condition and good confidence, then I can just show the 10s. So, or the last one is really good, but I have to control and make it up. So it could be hard, yeah, for me.
Right, so it looks like India has all their arrows in, and their first end is going to be 51. The max score that you could shoot is 60 points. But Lloyd, let's talk about the scoring system for recurve archery. Tell us a little bit about how as these matches progress, how do we determine a winner that advances to the next round?
Yeah, they just use a set system here. So the archers are going to shoot 6 arrows. That's 2 arrows for each archer. And then whoever gets the most points on those 6 arrows gets 2 set points. if it's a tie, then they get 1 set point apiece. So they will use a set point. So we can see here now, what was the final score? 52-51, was that it?
That's what that's unofficially, that's what it looked like. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and we always have to be really careful because when we're looking at even as coaches, when you're looking at the target through a spotting scope, or the archers, or sometimes they have TVs, there's a lot of times they're close arrows, and a lot of times the score that they're displaying isn't the right score. You have to wait until the judges down at the target have a look and the score becomes official before you really know.
Yeah, that's the most, I think, one of the most interesting things about archery is that delay of victory, or that delay of confirmation. Obviously during these games you have, track and field. It's like, hey, whoever comes across that line first, they win, they cheer. It's definitely an interesting sport where you have a little bit of a delay. As we watching the feed on our monitors that we have, we're watching some replays of slow motion shots. There was just a beautiful shot of an arrow just sailing through the air, and the way the arrows come off of a recurve bow, an Olympic recurve bow versus a compound bow, significantly different in the way that they fly through the air. So let's see, we're getting at the bottom part of the screen that you were watching. We could see that for a moment there that it's 52. So 52-51, that means it's going to be 2 set points. So for team round, I believe it's a little different than it is individual rounds when we look at set scoring, meaning the max points value. Isn't that correct, Lloyd? Is it 5 points to win?
Yeah, it's 5 points to win. So usually you're going to shoot 3 ends.
All right, so we're in our quarterfinals, archery in Paris. And if you're watching the feed yourself, you can see that the stands are starting to fill up. Incredible crowd out there. India shoots first arrow of the second end. If you're new to archery, the terms we're going to use, an end basically means that each particular game in archery, in this particular game, there's 6 arrows that are shot and then scored. So each time you have a group of arrows that are shot, then scored, that's called an end in archery. Thanks for joining us here on World Archery's YouTube channel. We're also available on Archery Plus. If you're watching us there, welcome. Our first round of the quarterfinals for this archery in Paris. Seeing anything, Lloyd, from a coaching perspective that you can add to what we're looking at?
No, that was good. Their first archer got that just dead center 10, and that's what I really look for. I want to, because that just gives your whole team confidence. So Indy got 10-10-8 there, which is quite good.
A little bit of English on that shot, as we like to say. Sometimes when that shot breaks, it's not in the perfect spot, and archers try to move their bow, but we know that most of the time that arrow's already gone.
Do you know that the English don't know that term? They don't use that term in England.
Which term?
The term English. Putting
English on it.
They didn't.
Oh, yeah, no.
That actually comes from pool.
meant.
It comes from pool. Like putting English on it
Yeah.
means that you're, yeah. I'm curious, Chuan,
There we go. Scores are up.
Scores are up. Yeah, exactly. So nerves out, 28-25 for India at the halfway point of this end. Chuan, let's talk about recurve archery. I mean, the one thing about a compound shooter, you're a compound shooter, I'm a compound shooter. If we decide that we need to take 2 days off or 3 days off, we can do it and we can get right back to form, even take a week off. But physically, recurve archery is much more demanding, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more like body technique. Is because you can see compound is really technical by the bow. Instruments really complicated, but recurve is really simple. You can see it's only the limbs and the handle, so it's more affected by your body control. So it's really hard, yeah. And I see it's really a bit windy in Paris, so they are struggling with left and right. I can see it. So maybe the first shooter really has to be confident, and then they the first shooter has to tell teammates to where the arrows are going, and it's really looks difficult to. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's important. You
getting
can see
worse.
here on the feed, Gabby Schlusser, who's shooting second shooting for the Netherlands. She was actually speaking with her teammate, talking,
Hmm.
and that can be a variety of things. Talking about the wind, talking about the clock, maybe counting down the clock as well.
Hmm.
So it's important to have good communication across the board in these team rounds, which
Yes.
is very interesting because, Chuan, when you're training with the
Hmm.
team, and this I would imagine goes across the board, how often are you getting to practice team rounds versus how much do you shoot individually for score?
We really cares about the team match a lot because it's really
Hmm.
important for us. So we do a lot. Maybe because we already all the time we national team practice together in the national training center in Korea. So maybe more than uh, every day. Every day we do. Yeah, every day we do the
Oh, incredible.
practice the team events. Yeah, and of course it's important. That's why. And we really sharing and communicate a lot, so to understand my teammates and what is the weakness and the good point of them, we have to know really well each other. That is really important, and that really shows in good way in competition. It really shows up. Hmm.
There's a really good shot that we just saw on the feed of a actual forward slow motion shot of Gabby Schlusser's release, and then they reversed it to show the arrow going back into her hands and then release again. Gives you a good idea. Uh, Bernardo, let's talk real quick about that release, about how your fingers and release. Like, obviously, when you see as the Netherlands, let's see, Netherlands now 52-54. So they're up 4 set points to 0. This could close it out and advance them. This is, by the way, like single round eliminations. If you lose, you're out. And so winners advance. But we talk about new archers that shoot recurve and how oftentimes they would pluck the string, where they can't really. How do you even get to the point where you can have a smooth release with a recurve bow?
It's not easy, honestly. It takes some time, and in Korea, like they really have mastered how to teach this and how to explain to someone how to actually do that. And the idea is that you don't open your fingers. It's kind of like you kind of have your fingers set to be holding a certain tension, a certain poundage, and then they just let go slightly as soon as the tension increases slightly. So yeah, and it's this balance of being relaxed but also shooting in a firm way, which can be so hard to handle in a competition when stakes are high, for example, here at the Olympics.
Yeah, this is what Chawan was talking about. The body, as it relates to, Olympic recurve archery is incredible, and the amount of variables that you have that allow an arrow to go 70 meters down and actually hit the 10 ring. Where on the compound side of things, we have so many aids. We have magnification in our scopes with lenses. We have peep sights. We have all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
And here, if you really sit down and analyze and look at what recurve shooters deal with, the variables are incredible. And now, as Chawan points out, the wind is definitely blowing. You can see it in Gabby's hair. You can see the stabilizers, which are those big bars that hang off the front and off the sides. They catch wind, and they're moving that bow around, and so you're getting those left and rights. And I think that sometimes the tendency is to just kind of, if it's going left and right and it's moving past the center, the tendency is just to let the string go and hope that the arrow makes it there. So Lloyd, looking at what you're seeing from the Netherlands right now, I mean, you're looking at a team that is high-fiving, you're looking at a team that is smiling. Like, how do you feel the vibes are right now with the Netherlands?
Well, it looks like they just shot at 29, so they got to be pretty happy. That's a great score, especially if they're shooting in wind like this. But you were talking about that communication earlier, and it's so important when it's windy that you're sharing the right information, not only how much did your arrow drift, but where were you aiming? How far off were you aiming? And then also, was it a good shot or not? Because somebody, they might need to communicate that, yeah, I was aiming left 8, but it wasn't a good shot. So don't use that to make your decision.
Wait,
So they
wait,
gotta
wait, wait, wait a
really be
second.
careful.
You're telling me that you think there are archers out there that will actually turn to someone and say they made a bad shot?
Yeah,
This is
or they'll say,
this is the
they'll say that's where I was aiming. I remember one archer used to always,
Mm.
she'd shoot one off, but then say, but that's where I was aiming. So it didn't go there because of the wind. It went there because that's
Yeah.
where my sight was when I let go. And it's important information. If you don't share that information with your teammates, you want to make
guys,
sure that they're
I've,
going to have the best chance on the next one.
I'm
What's
so
up,
sorry.
Lucy?
I've messed up. What was India's last arrow?
Well, like where was it
It
plotted?
was a
Yeah.
10. It was a 10 for 48.
Oh, it's a
10.
10. Oh, thank you. Oh, no.
Yep.
It's already... And Netherlands, they just got a 9. We were doing
like
so well.
what you're doing, Lucy, is
2
incredible.
points
The
to
amount of
win.
focus you have to get this done. 7 right
Got a
for the
9
last arrow.
and a 7. Thank you so much, everyone. And we had an 8. Is that correct?
Yep. And another
I think
one.
this is
Really
correct.
good.
Whew. It's a lot of pressure.
It's
Regardless
hard
of
work
that,
for-
at the moment, the win goes to the Netherlands, and they get to advance as they march closer to everybody trying to get into the gold medal match later on today. But great shooting from the Netherlands. Sportsmanship now on the field of play, of course, shaking hands and congratulations. And I mean, this is the biggest stage in the world, and to do it in front of a stadium right now that is just continues to fill up is pretty incredible. If you just saw that shot, by the way, and you saw those like AstroTurf, you saw some people in a little cubby hole there. Those are the photographers. So they get to sit downrange and listen to arrows zip by their ears, which is it's a pretty crazy place to be. We're watching replays now of the Netherlands and their victory. So they'll advance. And so now the next match we're going to see is Korea and Chinese Taipei. Chawan, is there any country that you know of with Korea that is like a rivalry type country? Is something that with the teams that are left in these final matches, you know what I mean, that moving forward that we would look at later on?
Actually, China is really doing great this year. In World Cup, first one and second one, China just slayed. Yeah, so I think China is the biggest and strongest at this moment.
Yeah, and it's a big deal, obviously, for everybody, especially Korea in this women's team competition. It's interesting, Lloyd. As Chawan was kind of letting us know that how often they, as a compound team, practice team, you would have to think it's the same thing on the recurve side of things. How often do the teams that you've dealt with from the States or from Great Britain, Lloyd, have been? How often do they get to practice team rounds? Because I know in the States, most of our team are practicing individually all over the country. They don't actually go to a center, so the amount of team shooting they get to have is very limited. So what about your experience over the years?
Well, we had I was coaching the resident athlete program in Chula Vista and San Diego before the '96 team, and because all of the men were resident there leading up to the Olympics, we got to practice a lot of team round, and we'd do a lot of team round simulations with a lot of distractions. With always set up the speakers, so you had you had the noise, the crowd noise. You're announcing every arrow, trying to make it as real as you can. And then we also do a lot of it's getting to know each other. What does the other archer want to hear? How do they want their arrows called? How to that a really important part about how to communicate, but then also practicing the real rare events of what if a judge calls a penalty. So you got two main penalties. One is a foot fault if somebody goes in front of the waiting line before the other guy's back behind the waiting line, or if somebody takes their arrow out of the quiver before their foot is planted on the other side of the shooting line until they're on the shooting line, and then you can get a penalty. And it's practicing those so that you know exactly what to do and because that's going to eat up time, because you have to come back and then go back forward. And there is a process, and I've seen teams blow up because they hadn't practiced it, where an archer that gets a penalty for pulling the arrow out too soon, they come back, but they don't put their arrow back, which means they just get another penalty, which means they got to come back. And you have to practice the things that could happen as well. Or maybe an equipment failure. Somebody goes up the line, they have equipment failure, they got to come off, and the next guy's got to come up, because you have a limited amount of time, and you just got to be prepared for anything at any time. I think there's one thing interesting is watching the Indian team, because they had one left-handed archer and two right-handed archers, and because there's a lot more right-handed archers, you kind of get used to this flow pattern. But whenever you throw a lefty up there, they're walking the wrong way in the wrong direction, so you have to kind of rework your flow pattern to manage the lefties. Because I think the first time we had a left-hander on a team, they turned around and just walked smack bang into the other guy because they're coming off the wrong direction. So you just you got to practice that pattern until it just becomes so natural you just don't even think about it. I mean, that's what the training's all about.
Juwan, I'm curious, like when you're shooting team rounds and you like to be the archer that starts off first, in your team structure, if you get down to that third shooter and the clock is running down on that sixth and final arrow in team matches, for whatever reason it is, maybe it's windy and some people are holding long or whatever, does that third person, are they able to say, look, I would rather have you say the word, I would rather have you count the clock down to me, or I would rather have the coach count the clock down? Like, are those conversations that you would have in those like emergency situations?
Yeah, we already settle up, and then we really simulate a lot. So, okay, I prefer to count from 10. Some archer prefer to count from 5 seconds, but naturally we count from 10, and then if it's not able to shoot, we just say it, shoot, just fire.
Oh, literally.
Yeah, just go.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's
What do
All
you
right, so
prefer,
we're watching
Greg? Do you prefer a countdown?
Huh?
What countdown do you prefer? You. When
Me?
you shoot.
Oh.
I probably prefer a countdown from 10. But I don't, I shoot fast. So I've had devices before that you can put on your bow, on a compound bow, that kind of measure the movement of your bow and measure your time and everything else. When I shoot a thumb button release, my average shot is 8 seconds. If I shoot a back tension release, which I just started learning and shooting, my average shot is like 12 and a half seconds. So I'm generally get it on the target and then just send it. I mean, I'm old.
You're
I
quite
shake.
fast shooter.
Yeah, quite, yeah. So I don't really, unfortunately for me, like, so in the States, when you shoot an elimination round or a qualification round for recurve archery and for compound archery is identical in the amount of arrows you shoot, right? So 72 arrows. At world archery level, when you're shooting each group of 6, each end of 6, you get 3 minutes, I believe now. In the States, we're still doing 4 minutes because, we shoot with a mix of para athletes, and so the para need the 4 minutes, so we still shoot 4 minutes. Generally, my 6 arrows, I'm off the line in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Like, I literally have 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's not, I don't like doing that. It's not preferred. I would like to be able to take a little bit more time and let my shot open up and shot develop and shoot higher scores. But for some reason, that's just the way my brain works. And, Lloyd, as a coach, is that something that over time you need to kind of understand how each archer's process works and the speed of which they work? And are those the types of things that you get down to the nitty gritty with shooters on?
Yeah, I think the time thing is kind of funny, because when the compounds first started shooting world archery type competitions, and a lot of them just said it's not enough time, and especially on the team round. I mean, I remember one, world class shooter who just told me, if there's not enough time to shoot, I'm just not going to shoot. And you don't want to hear that from a world team member at a world championships. But they they didn't want to punch if they had to shoot. But what was really interesting is because I remember talking to MJ Rogers, who was, we were out at, it was one of our selection shoots where we had the compounds and the recurves out at the training center in San Diego. And what had happened was the compounds all of a sudden started shooting faster. They were done before the recurve archers. So the ones that were good, the ones that were getting good, were learning to shoot their bows a lot quicker than they had in the past. They didn't hold forever. Looks like our match has started here.
Yeah,
Korea
it
didn't have a
started.
good start.
So Korea opened with an 8, which is not what I expected.
It's just such a unique. I mean, obviously, let's just say it's a once every 4-year event. But I mean, I just keep looking at our feed and just keep looking at how the stands keep filling up and filling up and filling up. And there's just, I don't think, any way to avoid, feeling the energy of what's really going on here. So the third arrow for Chinese Taipei ends up as a 7. They had an opportunity to kind of jump on Korea and possibly take a 26-27 advantage halfway through this first end. We're in set scoring system. So if they win this end, they'll get 2 set points, first to 5 wins. If they tie, we go 1-1 apiece. The wind definitely a factor, 70 meters, or if you're from countries that don't measure meters, like the States, it's about 77 yards-ish. So a little bit over 3/4 of an American football field is the distance they're shooting. You know what's funny, panel? When I talk about archery is Korea comes in with not a 10, just 4 9s and 2 8s in that first end. As Chinese Taipei lines up for their last 3 arrows. What's interesting to me is that people oftentimes will ask me when they learn that I shoot archery, is they say, "How do you shoot further distances?" And I always make the point that it's literally called archery. You arch the bow, so you're going to move that sight down. You can see there's a little pin there on that bow, hanging off the bow, and that's the thing that's incredible. It's at such a distance, you have to have such an incredible angle. Lloyd, I'm curious if you're in a year that's like a year that we're going to be competing archery in Paris like we are, would you ever encourage your shooters, as Chinese Taipei almost bounced back, but it looks like unofficially 52-51, so it's going to be 2 set points for Korea. We'll see how that officially turns out. But Lloyd, I was asking, would you ever encourage your shooters, your Olympic recurve shooters, to shoot any other distance than 70 meters during this run up to this big event, just to give them a variety? Or do you want their body to be 100% acclimated to holding the bow at the angle that you need to hold it at to shoot 70 meters?
No, they probably mostly be shooting 70 meters. I like them to do a lot of blank boss, but when I was coaching the team, I had the blank bosses raised up on platforms so they would still have the 70 meter body angle, because I felt that was really important to maintain that angle. I haven't seen other coaches do that. I don't know if that was just me, but it just made sense to me if you're going to practice blank boss to be at that angle. So watching this match,
So Bernardo,
Chinese Taipei had an opportunity there and just had a 6. That's a lot of pressure on that last archer, because their arrow is going to make the difference whether they win that set or don't win that set. And unfortunately, she shot a 6, and they lost that set when they really had an opportunity there to take the first 2 set points.
And of course, you can see there if you're watching the feed, that the Korean women's team come in as the number 1 seed in these games, and Chinese Taipei the number 9 seed. They got to where they are now by eliminating number 8 seed, which is the United States of America. So do we look at this, Chawan, and say that Chinese Taipei is an underdog in this match just because of how they seeded in the rankings?
Yes, of course. I think most of people don't want to Korea to win because Korea is always winner. But I can see the Chinese Taipei's archers. Two of them is really young and less experienced, so maybe that's why they shot 6 at the last arrow. But I think they could make it up. So because they are young and so cool, yeah, looks energy
Oh,
and
sorry, guys. What we saying? Is that
and
a
of
9 or a
course
10?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it
I
looks
think
like
it's
a
a
10, Lucy. I think it's a 10.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Excellent.
It's a 10.
Thank you.
Officially on
Definitely a
the
10,
feed that
yeah.
we're seeing, they're calling it a 9 asterisk, so it's a 9-10 liner. But I'm with Chawan. I think it's a 10. 8 on the second one for Chinese Taipei, and then another 10. I mean, there's so many factors involved here. Number one, you're dealing with the crowd, you're dealing with nerves, you're dealing with the center stage. But the second bit of it is too is that you've got to figure out, you know, your the wind. You've got to figure out like what's going on this field of play, because oftentimes, Juwan, when we're in qualification rounds for individual qualification rounds, what does the field look like? It's certainly not a stadium setting, is it?
Yes, so many targets are there and so many archers on the field, so it's really hard to focus and concentrate. But I can see many flags over top of the target, so I can see how the wind is going on. So it could be some advantage on this side or not, or this side. So sometimes tricky, but I have to manage it anyway. So
Yeah, but have you shot in finals venues before in your World Archery? Now, so this is something interesting which just happened on the feed. Is that and very characteristic of Olympic recurve shooters? The shooter for Chinese Taipei let down. So drew back the bow, didn't feel it, and let down. This can be a real issue depending on how much time is left on the clock. There's 2 shooters to go, and there's 30 seconds left on the clock. Lloyd, how are you training for that?
Well, this is where, you know, I mentioned earlier that you want to have the archer that's your last archer. We in the US we call them batting cleanup, but you want to have that last archer, somebody that you know that if you have to let down, they can get up there and shoot an arrow fast. You know, we used to have like Rod White. You knew that he could get up there and just slam an arrow if he only had 10 seconds left, and it was going to be a good arrow. And when you have that anchor, then you have the confidence to know that it's okay if you have to let down. If you don't have somebody like that, I think, yeah, you might be quite worried, and you might shoot a shot that you really didn't want to shoot.
You can see from the grimace on Chawan's face that shot went a little bit wide left.
yeah.
So 4 seconds was remaining for Chinese Taipei. They got the shot off, and that shot was a 9. That's a really critical shot. We've seen the clock go down to 1 before. Another left shot, 7-8 liner.
Yeah.
And of course,
Chinese
Lucy's there
Taipei,
plotting
Chinese
for us.
Taipei's going to take this.
Yeah.
I think we're all going to have to put our heads together for the 9-10 for Chinese Taipei.
I don't think with the score, with that 10, I don't think it's going to matter, Lucy, because if that turns into it's a 9, but it'll go 56, so it looks like we're going to be split sets 2-2.
Waiting for the confirmations.
Chawan, I have to ask you this. Since you're a compound shooter, you're on the Korean team, do you like set scoring system, or do you like the cumulative scoring system that we have in compound, which it means that every arrow matters, every point matters? I'm curious what your position is on it.
Yeah, if I'm as a compound shooter, if I make a little any of mistake, it really matters. If I shoot on 8, it could be a losing game because of that one single arrow. So I've never experienced of the set point game, but it could be for it for some who makes mistake. Yeah, good for her. And for the scoring system, some who good shooting good, then it could be an advantage for the good shooter. But I prefer, yeah, scoring maybe, not sets.
Yeah, I think so. So Bernardo, how the stats going?
Because
What are we
sometimes,
looking at for? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jawan.
I know it's okay, it's okay. So sometimes in set point could be really affected by fortune or some windy issue. So I don't like something is not in my control. So
Yeah, I totally get that. So statistically, what are we looking at, Bernardo? You've been crunching some numbers. How are things going?
Yeah, I've been taking a look at some interesting things here. Well, last time Chinese Taipei and Korea met in the Olympics was semifinals in Rio 2016. My home Olympics. On that occasion, Korea beat Chinese Taipei 5-1. In fact, they beat everyone 5-1 back then in that opportunity. So this is already something different, something better for Chinese Taipei now that they managed to score 2 set points, even though they dropped that very valuable first opportunity there. But just before we begin with the first arrows, the first archer on the line, we see her there, John Hunyong. She shot a 7 in the last set, and she is the only one of the trio to have missed the 8 ring in the qualification round. So both her teammates, they were 100% within the 8, while she was the only one who shot a 7. She even shot a 6, so she might be the point of attention, the one that might drop some precious points here.
And Jawan, if you're in a team and you've seen your teammate do that, what are some of the things that you would do? Would you actually, just give your teammate words of encouragement? Would you kind of just let it be?
I could make a courage or this time maybe she's really stressed and under pressure. So maybe in changing the in order could be help for this time, because she's shooting first, and shooting first really is not good for she's not in good condition. So maybe that is kind of way to make us solve it. Yeah, she couldn't even shot yellow, so it's really, yeah.
And that's really a good point. The good point is that when in these team rounds, there is no set order. You could change order.
Yes.
Like each archer has to shoot 2 arrows, right? Like so 6 total. That's a given, but you can change the order anytime during the match.
Yeah. If it helps,
Right,
then you can use the rules. So.
So now 2 points halfway through this set, what can be deemed a critical set, because if there's a win between either team in terms of the set, then you're going to go up, and that's a big deal at this point. As 2 set points, you go 4-2, and you only need 5 to win. So whoever wins this, they're sitting in a driver's seat, because even if you tie in that 4th end, then you still have victory. And right now, Korea's found their rhythm again. 8-9, 10, 9-9 so far. One more arrow for the women's team for Korea. In this quarterfinals match, as we continue to get closer to our medal matches. That is a heck of a group you have to plot there, Lucy. Left part of your screen, Lloyd Brown, coach extraordinaire, has coached Olympic athletes to gold medals. You have So Chawan, who is part of the Korean national team from the compound discipline. Lucille Sullivan there is our plotter, keeping our score and getting after it. It's a very, very difficult job to stay focused. And of course, Bernardo Oliveira, who's an Olympian in his own right, joining us from Switzerland, is part of the team as well. I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us as we're watching Archery in Paris. We have our YouTube feed here. And of course, if you have the ability to watch the current feed going on in Paris right now for the Olympic Recurve Archery Division, it's women team finals, and we're watching it along with you as Chinese Taipei finishing up their end And they have one arrow that's in question, but it's a 2-point advantage, it looks like, for Korea. So the way it's going to work is those 2 set points will go. So we should have Korea leading 4 set points to 2, with the first team to 5 winning. If we went 4-4, Lloyd, do we do a shoot off at 4-4? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think-
Right? Yeah, because if we went 5-5, we'd have a shoot off.
Yeah.
I mean, as a fan, that's what I want to see. I want to see a shoot off.
Yeah. shoot-offs
Bernardo,
are a
if we
lot
have a
of fun.
shoot off, what's the rules, Bernardo, for a shoot off if we get one?
Yeah, we're yet to have a shoot-off here in the teams competition today. So one archer of each team is going to shoot a single arrow, and it's going to be in alternating fashion. So it's not going to be this full rotation that we're seeing in the regulation set. So it's going to be 1 arrow from Korea, 1 from Taipei, and so on. And the highest sum wins the shoot-off. So if we have a tied score, then the team with the closest arrow to the center wins. And if the closest arrow to the center by each team is, you can't tell which one is closer, then we look at the second one. And if that happens, which I've never seen happen, then the third.
Can you imagine statistically how improbable that would be in recurve? I mean, I could see it happening in compound, possibility to go to a second arrow for a tiebreaker, but wow.
But me with the Brazilian team,
yeah,
I was just gonna say, me with the Brazilian team, we have lost a match that was in a shoot-off. We tied the score, closest one to the center. The best arrow by each team was tied, and then the second one, closest, was checked, and we lost. It was a hard one to swallow.
Oh, there's a good one, bottom of the
Nice
10 ring.
match. Yes. It's gonna be really important for Taipei team. Yeah, they.
Yeah, you can see the communication too in the feed going on from the teammates. Really, they're into this match. They're focused on this match, and 10-9 so far for the first half of this fourth end. Ooh,
They're all such
9-8
young
liner.
teams now as well.
Yeah, only one experience. And of course, for Korean team, they are all for the first time Olympic shooting. So, and even not Lim Chian is really shooting great for a couple of years, but Jeon Hoon-young and Nam Soo-yeon is this year really first time they came in squad the national team. So it's really amazing. They nailed it the Olympic season.
So all these athletes that we're watching from
Oh.
Korea, this is their first time at the games.
Yes.
Incredible.
And every time it changes a lot. So, and I can see they are really relaxed now. Maybe now it's used to the field, so they're shooting great. Back in the pace.
Jawan, on the recurve side of things, did you have somebody from Korea that you looked up to when you were growing up in the sport?
Sorry.
Did you have like a shooter that you looked up to
shooter.
when you started shooting? Yeah.
Actually, my coach when I first started, she was the Olympic winner of 1992 Barcelona. And she made me as an archer, so I really thanks to and respect her. And for the shooter, Oh Jin-hyuk, the man
Yeah.
who just retired this year, I really respect him as an archer and as a human. He's really good at managing and good at how it works, and he really knows himself. So he's really good. He's amazing.
That's awesome. So we go 54 total points. So at this point, all Korea has to do is shoot a 54, and they'll win in advance. What do we get for that fourth arrow? 9. Ooh. Just outside the 10 ring. By the way, if you're new to archery and you haven't seen scoring rings before, the arrow only has to touch that line and you get the higher value. So if any part of that arrow is crossing that 10 line, you're going to get that higher value. That's why we have those. That's clearly a 9 there, but that's why we have those where we have a 9 asterisk is going to be 10-9 liner, and the judge has to go down and take a closer look at it to make it official. But 56, 54, I don't think there's a question there. In a tight match, really, Chinese Taipei did great in the second end to put pressure on to tie it up at 2-2. Unfortunately, for the women's team finals, it looks like unofficially for the moment, as they're congratulating each other, Chinese Taipei will be done, and Korea will move on. Which means now we're going to go to our third match of the quarterfinals, which is going to be Mexico versus Germany. This is definitely going to be an interesting match. Any thoughts, Lloyd, if you're looking at Mexico or Germany? Is there any particular, like, it doesn't really ring domination? Germany's been doing really well, obviously, heading into these games, but any thoughts on the next match coming up?
Yeah, they're both good teams, and anything could happen there. I think I'd like to talk about this last match because I think there were some opportunities there for Chinese Taipei. I think Korea did show there was a bit of a weakness there. They weren't shooting good scores, and I think Chinese Taipei, except for just that one arrow on the first end, it could have been a difference. And I think they had a chance. They were only 1 point behind on that third end as well. It was a winnable match. They could have beat Korea there, and it was so close. But that just shows you when you get into these top 8 teams in the world, really it doesn't matter if you're number 1 or number 9. They're going to be good enough that like we'd say in America, any given Sunday, they could win. They could beat them. Of course, there is a wind. I think the wind was what is affecting Korea, but actually affecting both teams. So they both are shooting in difficult conditions. But yeah, this next team, Mexico and Germany are both strong. I don't think either one of them would be considered a dominant team in the world like Korea is. But it should be a good match. Should be an interesting match.
And I think if you look at the panel we have on our feed here, if you look at the middle, you see the average point scored is 8.9 apiece. And Chinese Taipei had more 10s. And this is what, Chawan, we were talking about, the difference between, cumulative scoring on one side of it and set point scoring system. So that's the interesting part. It's like when you come together as a team, you can have those big wins. It's unfortunately for Chinese Taipei, it's those stray 7s, and a little bit more 8s that are going to do it. So on our feed that we're watching, the athletes have made their way to the field of play, and I continue to look at those stands, and they just continue to fill up. Incredible. When I initially saw the early days of those grandstands, and I thought, wow, are they really going to fill this up? But this is the biggest stage in the world. A couple notables, a lot of experience also anchoring the Mexican team. Bernardo, we've talked about Valencia over the course of this season, having a really good run, in 2024 to get her way into this final stage. And of course, there's some familiar faces as well on the German side of things. But let's talk about Valencia and what she's been able to accomplish this year from your perspective.
What she's been able to accomplish since she started, we were talking about the young athletes that we have in the competition field in Paris. And I remember when Alejandra Valencia was the young rookie, the 16-year-old sensation that came storming through the scene. And that was 14 years ago. So, but throughout all this time, she's been amassing more and more experience, and I think now she's just a full package. She's so talented, so strong, and experienced. So, yeah, but she is one who is really used to being on the top, really used to the big pressure matches, and she knows how to deliver. And we just seen in the medals she won in the World Cup stages, the Pan American Championships. Really, she is the captain of this Mexican team. And I believe this is going to be a cracking match.
And with the way that this worked out into these quarterfinal matches, Mexico, of course, had a bye because they were in the position in which they were ranked. But in order for Germany to get in here, they actually sat Great Britain down 6-0 on that one. So obviously it's 5 set points to win, but when you go win, that's 2, win 2, win 2. So that's 6 accumulation. So that's where we are on how these two got here. I'm curious, Lloyd, from your perspective, do you feel it's an advantage or a disadvantage or a push, as we say in gambling, to have a bye before you get into this match? So, of course, for those that are new, a bye basically means you don't actually have to compete to get here. You've already done the work. So for Mexico, they haven't shot yet today, but this team has.
Yeah, a lot of people do feel that's an advantage. I think it depends on the individual. Some people feel there's a big advantage to have already shot a match and be familiar with the field, the competition field and everything, and the wins and everything else, where the other team's coming on cold, even though they were higher ranked. So they might not have that same advantage.
So first 2 arrows for Germany going a little bit around, 7-7 apiece. As you can see, Lucy has been plotting our arrows, so you can watch along on our feed as well as where the arrows impacted. If you don't have the ability to watch the feed that's coming from Paris. And the third arrow coming out of Germany is going to be A9. Huh?
And I said, don't you worry, we've got you. We are plotting these arrows for everyone.
We're going to have to get Lucy a bucket of coffee by the end of today. Ooh, so the first arrow from Mexico goes right to the 6.
So when you're shooting on a team and when you've had a bad end like that, and then the other team opens up with an arrow like that, it just suddenly relaxes you a little bit because you think you're just really blowing it. But obviously the conditions are difficult because these are good archers, best in the world. And when you can see, look at their hair blowing. When they're getting wind like that, it is difficult, and it can happen to anybody.
And by the way, if you're watching this YouTube feed in Mexico, you can actually catch the feed on Univision in Mexico. And if you're in Germany, ARD or ZDF is where this coverage is, if you're looking for it to find it. Bet you guys didn't know I knew that, huh? Well, yeah, I know.
Who told you?
I get a text from our producers.
The question I get asked most as an archer is,
go Lucy, yeah, go ahead.
Does the bow do the spinny thing? Do one of you guys want to explain the spinny thing that the bow does?
I have no idea what you're talking about. The spinny thing.
So when our bows are released, so everyone always asks if we buy our bows that spin.
Oh, that lunge forward. I see. Yeah. Especially in the Korean system, it's the way the wrist breaks and the bow goes down to it's like rhythmic, right? Like you can see it with the Koreans. It breaks, it goes back up once, and then it's like they put the limb tip on the top of their shoe, right, to load, like get ready for the next arrow. Is that what you're talking about, Lucy?
Yeah, so when you watch the archers, their bows kind of jump from their hands. But the big question that I get asked is, do you buy your bow that does that? And I try and explain every time that actually, no, we push our bows, and that's what makes the bow spin. I don't know if Lloyd
it's
wants
just
to go
react.
into more detail.
It's more because of the balance of the stabilizers, because you want it to spin forward, because you don't want it to come backwards into your head.
Yeah, because the stabilizers is located under the hand, so.
Oh, right.
It's a natural way to go spin. Yeah, the weight stability.
What's the weirdest question you guys have ever got asked about archery? Mine's always about, does your bow spin?
Why do you do it? I guess.
Can I answer that even though I'm not on screen? Can anyone bring me on screen?
Yeah.
Okay, here I am. But I can't be on screen while Lucy is. That's I didn't want to knock her off. Okay, anyway, weirdest
working on
question I've
that.
ever
We're
got
working on it.
was weirdest question I've ever got was whether the arrow actually, let's say, was launched from out of the stabilizer. Like quite a lot of people, they think that the stabilizer is kind of a rod that kind of the arrow is in there, and then from it leaves the bow. You know, so to me that's pretty wild.
Yeah,
So it looks
that's
like we're going to be tied up. It's our first tight end, I believe, of the tournament so far that we've seen. Interestingly, neither one of the teams have shot a 10 just yet. But we have seen these first arrows coming out of the bow that are more, I think this first end for this category of shooting, in particular for recurve, is more of like a scouting arrows, like how are we dealing with the wind. And so, you know, for Chawan, one of the things that's really critical, I know, when you shoot World Archery Compound, is to have a practice field set at a good distance, set at, you know, similar conditions, right? Because you have so many things that help you shoot, your sight being in the right position and all that kind of stuff. Lloyd, when we look at it, how important is it to have a practice field, which these archers are warmed up, to have it as close to identical as the field that they jump onto to get these good first arrows off?
Yeah, I think it was World Archery had a requirement that your practice range had to be immediately adjacent in the same direction, because it does make a big difference. If you're coming off a range and shooting the other direction, you might just be sighted in all wrong. So yeah, it does help, and that's why the team that's already been out there might have an advantage because they're already used to it. But we also watch. Like, we'll watch the matches before and watch where the arrows go, so when we send our team out there, we can tell them, look, almost everybody's shooting their first arrow to the right, so get upwind, aim left, you know. So we can watch what the archers before, although you don't know where they're aiming, but you can tell, you know, if they're making a common mistake or going in a common direction where we can edge up that direction. So we do watch it.
So for Mexico, in the second end of competition, it's 9-9 so far, and another 9, so 3 9s, where Germany goes 7-8-9 so far. So now with the 3 archers shot, we're halfway through this end of competition. So now the clock continues to run for Germany. It's 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes to shoot these 6 arrows? 120 seconds. That's why you see the clock ticking. On the feed, if you're watching the feed with us, 40 seconds remain on the clock for Germany to get their final arrows off. Eight left. I'd say that's probably about, if you're looking at a clock, about 10:24. Chawan, that's an analog clock. I know that, you know, you young people like digital clocks, but there's something called an analog. Forget it.
Analog. Yeah, 9. That's a 9. So maybe it could be easy for Mexico this end. I only need 23 for a 3-person.
Oh, that's a good start. A 10.
Yeah.
If you're looking at that target close up and watching this feed, and you're wondering what the innermost circle is, it's just a little lighter than the darker rings. You can see inside that 10 ring. We call that the X ring. Not really used for, it's not an extra point. It's still a 10, but especially in the non-Olympic sport of compound archery, we keep track of our X's quite a bit. Not so much here in the recurve side of things.
Or in qualification, it could matter with the ranking. It counts, so it could matter. It really matter in qualification.
Yeah, like a tiebreaker. If people shoot the same score,
yes,
you're going to have more X's, and that'll be the tiebreaker to set you in the ranking.
They look like really in energetic, so aggressive Mexicans.
They're so much
Yeah, they have
fun.
really
Like
good
at all
team
the World
spirit,
Cups.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're always
I
having
really like
fun.
their yeah, always having fun and yelling at each other. I really like that feel.
Wow, and I'm talking to Vanessa, who's at the venue, and she's saying that the support for Mexico is huge. Like she's feeling that really lots of support, cheering Team Mexico, and perhaps that's showing on scores. Like a really strong 55 with the very strong wind blowing on the venue for sure.
There's always a great balance, you know, in terms of for archery is specifically the energy level, right? Like, how do you manage that energy level if people are cheering for you, and can you get overexcited? Can you you know, maybe your shot goes off a little bit quicker than you want it to. So there's always kind of that fine balance as well. Want to also remind you, if you have any questions for our panel, any comments, please go ahead and in the YouTube. If you're watching this, go ahead and put them in the comments. We'll maybe grab one or two and challenge the panel here with some questions. If you're on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter for people like Lloyd, then you know you can tag in at World Archery, and we'll see if we can get some of those up. Yeah, Bernardo, you didn't know that I was a stand-up comic on the side, right? You didn't know that?
No idea. You're a man of many talents, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm just again just joking around. Another arrow goes
you
off,
could be one,
and
then.
it's a 9. The interesting bit is we can see really just from the target, and especially when we get to the target from the women from Mexico, is how the groups have really started to close in towards the middle after that first end. We've seen just the trend. I think that, you know, post-match, at the end of today, I think when we start looking on social media and seeing some of these comments, my guess is that because of the design of the stadium, that you're going to hear athletes comment about more probably like swirling wind. You know, Chawan, when you were talking about the field of qualification, it's a big open field. There's tons of targets. You know, the wind can just
Yes.
blow steadily right through. And I think that when you get to arenas like this, we've seen this at other venues with World Archery during the course of the seasons, that sometime it can swirl around, and which makes it even more challenging. Well, Lloyd,
It's
there's a look at the
really
coach and the coach box for
I hate
Germany.
it. Yeah.
You hate swirling wind? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. Coming from everywhere. It could coming from everywhere. So I can even manage or just if in that case I just shoot. I don't calculate or disorder. I just see the 10 score and then shoot. So,
And that's the other thing too. Like when you look at Olympic recurve and shooting 70 meters, the amount of distance that you have for the wind to change directions and watch your arrow just skate around, and for it to still reach the 10 ring is pretty incredible. Just like that.
What are we thinking? That's a 10?
I think it's a 10, Lucy. Yeah,
That's
I
a
was just
10.
kind of looking at the shadow
Let's
of it.
confirm
Yeah.
then.
yeah, Mexico is really strong
Mexico.
now. Yeah, they looks really
they're on.
solid.
Yep.
I think it helps just winning that one set outright, doesn't it? If you get 2 points rather than a tie, you just feel better, don't you?
Oh yeah, you're setting the tone. Plus now the door is open. Although Germany just shot a really great X, and that also can help the information on how the shooter shot that X, getting that information. Plus you're like, okay, here we go as a team. We're coming back, momentum. You know, the great Tom Brady once said, "Never give up."
And it's so true in archery.
So true.
You know, anyone could get a 6 or a miss, or you never know.
Yeah. Lloyd has a great story, I'm sure, about Rod White and his story of giving up that ended up paying off to a gold medal. One of the most incredible stories, Olympic stories you've ever heard. Boy, Mexico is dialed in right now. So Mexico just shot their first arrow of the last 3, and it was a 10, low 10. Ride white, wide right in an 8. And here comes that last
So
arrow.
10 to win. Mm-hmm.
10 to win in advance.
Nice.
Oh, that's a 10. Oh, that was really good one. Yeah.
They are absolutely going wild.
I'm sure the
Yes,
crowd's going
she's
nuts.
just like,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. She just looks like a big lion. She's just howling. That
So
was really good.
these are
one.
the quarterfinals, by the way, if you're just joining us for the women's team competition here as we watch archery in Paris. We've already had, this is the third match that we've had. The first 2 matches saw Korea beat Chinese Taipei, and we saw the Netherlands beat India. So it's going to be Korea and the Netherlands will be going against each other in the semifinals. And now we have Mexico that advanced. So we have one more to go in these quarterfinals. But what a dominating performance by Mexico. And of course, Lloyd, what's the impact of getting to the next stage? What does that guarantee you once you win this match and move to the next round?
Well, yeah, once you get to this match, then you know you're going for a medal. You don't know which medal yet, but yeah, you know you're going to be in a medal match. You win the next one, you're going for a gold, and you're guaranteed you're going to get at least a silver. And then if you lose that next one, then you're going to be in the bronze medal match, which means you're either going to go home with a bronze or be 4th place, which will be the only team that gets to lose twice. But I always watch, the one thing we saw Mexico really celebrating there, that always worries me because when they get too big into the celebration, I think they tend to get their mind out of preparing for the next one, because that's not the win yet. That was the win of that match, and that's okay. But I've just seen so many teams get so hyped up and excited about that win that it's just hard to get back into that mindset for the next match. So I don't know. That's one thing that always kind of worries me a bit when I see a team celebrate like that.
Well, hearing you say this, Lloyd, really makes me think of Team USA semi-final London 2012, right? You remember semi-final
Exactly.
against
I was
Korea?
thinking the same one.
Yeah. Brady was even crying after that, and then they failed to deliver against Italy in the gold medal final. It's the first thing that came to my mind when you were saying that.
Yeah.
Chawan, look at the comment down below. I said we have a comment on the screen. I hope to see Korea versus China in the finals. It can be either huge upset or a redemption.
Yeah.
Your comment, please.
My comment. Actually, a Korea team defeated twice this year, so could be a revenge match. I hope that will be, yeah.
All right, we'll see how this all plays out, because our next set of athletes have made their way to the field of play. People's Republic of China are being introduced right now, and they're going to be squared off against Indonesia. This will definitely be an interesting match. I think it feels like, in a way, and Bernardo, maybe you can comment on this, just about how you would feel being the 4th match in the quarterfinals. Instead of setting the tone of who's going to make it in, you're the first match and you win, and you're like, okay, now I'll just wait to see who we're going to be competing with. But now, to me, it feels almost like there's a bit of pressure on China. Like they know who they're going to be competing with in a medal match. But how do you feel about that situation?
Oh, yeah, to be honest, I think if that creeps in too much into your mind, it's not good. So you really just have to be, totally focused. I believe China, they are here to fight for gold, and on their minds, they're like, we have our minds and our eyes on the gold medal final against Korea. This is what we've prepared for, and whoever comes in our way, too bad for them, because we're going to beat them. I believe this is their mindset. But yeah, I just really think that you shouldn't be thinking about all of that too much. They will actually feel happier that they've managed to see other teams shoot in these conditions, the windy conditions, so they might be a little bit more ready for that.
So Indonesia came into this women's team competition ranked 7th, scoring a total of 1,960 points. So let's talk about how the rankings actually happen once we're here in the games, Lloyd. When we say that Korea qualifies number 1 with 2,046 points, what are we talking about? How do those points how do they come about?
Well, they have a qualification round, and it's before the Olympics. It's I think since, I'm not sure what year they started doing it, but we do the qualification round either on the day of opening ceremonies or now the day before opening ceremonies, where and it's not usually televised or and there's no spectators, and that was something actually Jim Easton had wanted, because he felt that the old style of just shooting for score was just too boring, and that's why we came up with this Olympic round and the head-to-heads and the elimination, to create a sport that was exciting for spectators. So the qualification round is kind of done off grid. Every archer shoots 72 arrows together on the field, and then they're ranked individually, and then the 3 archers together are ranked as a team, or the 2 archers for the mixed team, and that's where they get their rankings that take them into this system.
Cool. All right, thanks for that. Now we got a special treat. We're going to welcome in from Paris, Vanessa Lee's joining us. Vanessa, what is going on? You are crushing it this week, doing a great job. How's
Hey,
it going?
thanks so much. I'm having time of my life. I just walked right outside the venue because we can't film inside there. That's not our broadcasting right. But it's absolutely electric. There's like seats for thousands. I think like 8,000 or something. It's completely packed. Flags everywhere. I'd say like at least a third of the crowd. It seems like they're here for Korea, a ton for Mexico, and just people from all over the world have converged onto the field to be cheering on their favorite archers. It's insane.
So how was that win for Mexico just a moment ago? We saw the team was just hooting and hollering, and it looked like the crowd was going nuts.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So loud. I mean, Mexico loves their archers, and really, really loud for them. And they're shooting so well. So, I mean, of course, the crowd has a good reason to be cheering really loud.
Is this something that you expected to see such a large crowd and so much energy for these team finals? Because, for world archery and stuff, we see just a slight reduction in crowd and, as people wait for those individual matches. So is this a bit of a shock for you?
100%. The stands are huge. Like, beyond anything that I've ever seen. They go up on, it almost feels like a 45-degree angle, like dozens of stairs and rows on both sides. So it makes for an interesting thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed some of the larger groups that we're seeing. I don't know if it's nerves or what it is, but it feels like the wind is definitely having an effect. But every seat is full. And everybody is focused on every single arrow. It's absolutely crazy.
By the way, while you're talking, this match is going on, and with 1 arrow to go in this first end for Indonesia, they're 46-54. So a 10 here is going to win them the 2 set points over China. This could be the beginnings of a big upset. I can't see that. It looked like it might have drifted 8, Lucy?
Yeah.
Possibly?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm seeing an
54-54. So even a tie. Chawan, do you have any questions that you want to ask your friend Vanessa?
Vanessa?
Anything?
Yeah, I think the weather is really looks like. Yeah, thank you. I love you too. How is? I can even imagine that kind of huge crowds are there. Wow.
Yeah.
As you already mentioned, it looks really loud, but I can really hear it. So how is it? It really excites you?
Yeah, so I've been getting my cardio in. I've been going up and down these stands during the matches just to get a different feel from all four corners of the range, and it's just electric. You can feel the excitement from everybody, and just as an archer who loves this sport, I mean, it's emotional for me to see all these people who either love archery and have been invested in it for their whole lives, or people who are seeing it for the first time. Everybody here is just amazed by the level of athleticism from our athletes. It's a lot of fun.
Vanessa, I'm curious, is the crowd an archery educated crowd, meaning do they quiet down when the archers are shooting and then they get loud after the shot? Or because you see a mix of people that are experienced and maybe new to the sport, is there a little bit different of a noise level that's going on that we don't normally see at like a world archery event?
You know, very, very respectful, but absolutely outrageous when it's time to cheer. You know, for tens, they're going nuts. There's a little bit of spiciness, you know, when it comes to cheering, because there's some cheering when maybe an archer doesn't shoot all that well. So, you know, I think it just brings up the excitement a little bit. There's countries kind of like having cheering competitions against each other, but I mean, it's the freaking Olympics. We're at the Olympics right now, so very exciting, and the whole crowd is just adding to this atmosphere.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for sure. And please check back in, you know, anytime. We're going to be here with you watching for the remainder of this match and then 4 more events throughout the next week. So we're really excited about it, and keep on doing what you're doing. The social media posts are amazing. You're keeping us really well informed about the energy level and the things that are education wise. Really appreciate it, Vanessa.
Thanks. I'll be in touch with Bernardo throughout. You know, I'm sending him messages, so he has some insider information. But thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, enjoy getting back in there. All right, so back to the match. China now with 899 goes to 26. Oh wait, that's just a bit of a. If you're watching the feed, that was just a bit of a scoring error because Indonesia's shooting now. So they go 8-9 coming off. And then I believe Indonesia's first arrow was a 10. Now they're going to go, was that a 7? I think. Yeah. So not a complete shocker just yet, but a bit of a surprise is Indonesia is going literally toe-to-toe with China in the first end. And a 9 on the second arrow. So we're all tied up at 26. Again, all tied up. So China back up to shoot their first of their 3 archers. Oh. Nearly dead smack in the middle of that one. There's a little tiny registration mark. We call it the spider registration mark or something that denotes the center of the target. It's there for many reasons. Printing reasons, accuracy, and measuring closest to the center if we get to a shoot off. And that one was just a couple of millimeters away from the spider. That was such a good shot. If you're just joining us, it's Archery in Paris. It's going on live. Women's team finals, the first of our medals in archery to be given out. It's going to happen today. Lloyd Brown up there, left part of your screen. Socha Wan from Korea down there, bottom left part of your screen. Lucio Sullivan's there. We also have Bernardo Oliveira, who's keeping stats. They jump in and out. We just were lucky enough to have Vanessa Lee, who's at the venue, come join us as we are now in our final match that is going to set our final 4. So the one thing about getting to this final 4, of course, is you're guaranteed to shoot for a medal. They still have to have another match to decide who goes to the gold. The winner of the next match after this, the 2 winners will go gold, and the losers will shoot for bronze. So Indonesia right now and China just scrapping to keep their medal dreams alive.
I think it's probably quite windy there. The arrows
Yeah,
are really
It's
sort of
definitely
dripping out.
Yeah.
We can't appreciate it sitting at home. But also nerves as well. I think, that's going to be a lot of nerves. as Vanessa was saying, if the crowds are absolutely the biggest crowds they've ever seen, I can't imagine how nervous these guys must feel.
That's the other thing too about team round that's always interesting is not only do you need a shooter who's a good anchor shooter in terms of speed. Lloyd was talking about it, like you want to have someone who is confident in their shot, that when the pressure's on, if the clock is running down, they can take that shot. But also mentally, they need to be a gamer. And when I say a gamer, what I'm talking about is that person who, like if you look at stick and ball sports, it's like the person who says, give me the ball on the last play of the game. You want that person that can really say, I want to be this arrow needs to happen. This arrow needs to be a 10. I want to shoot that. And that's another thing that you look at, I think, with athletes is to find that rare, person that just wants to just take the bull by the horns, as they say. But now People's Republic of China going up 3-1. This is a must-have situation for the number 7th ranked seed Indonesia. They've got to win this set to go 3-3. And then we go to shoot-off, which we haven't seen yet. But I have a feeling, that sometime today we're going to see a shoot-off somewhere, and it's going to be spectacular. So again, if you have any questions for the panel, any comments, you can get after it in the YouTube comments, or you can go to the X platform, tag your comment at World Archery, and we'll see if we can get it up there on the screen. What, Jawan? You're like, tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking that the red line is not a good signal for Indonesian team for right now.
Yeah, it seems
really
like if for Indonesia to have a chance, it's like they need to keep it in the gold, 100%.
Especially against such a strong team like China.
Yeah. Ooh, that one's going to sting, unfortunately. And you can see like a 5 shot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're plotting
that target there.
It's hard too, Lloyd, huh? When an archer turns around baffled by how did that land in the 5? It's a really hard thing to diagnose, especially in the middle of a match, isn't it?
Yeah, she looks surprised, which could have been something in the conditions, or it might have been something in her shot. Usually if an archer looks surprised, they felt their shot was great.
Left. It's interesting to see how I just think that the wind is tricky. I think it's playing a different role at different moments, literally, in all these matches today.
The wind is always tricky, and it's a factor in almost every event. In one way or another. But I always say the wind will blow your mind more than it'll blow your arrows, and you gotta stay in there and shoot the shot. And it's more than the arrow getting adrift, but it's also the wind bouncing your bow-arm around, so it's hard to aim. But they look fairly steady. They don't look like they're getting blown hard like you might see, where the bow's bouncing around back and forth. It's hard when you look at historical
China,
results.
last arrow for Indonesia. Could be the last arrow for Indonesia in the quarterfinals for the women's team finals, and 9 it is. So 47-25. That's math. China with their last 3 arrows of this match, potentially. Starting off with a 10. So now there's only 12 points between the two with 2 arrows to go. 2 6s tie it for China, and obviously anything bigger like a 9. Now it's math again. So what, you need a 4 to win?
Yeah. If there are any big issue, then China's gonna take the game. Yeah.
Finish it off in the gold.
Mhm.
And look at as we're watching the feed, look at the stark contrast into Mexico's win and how celebratory they were, to Lloyd's point, and how stoic and chill the Republic of China athletes look, right? It's like that thing that Bernardo talked about earlier. It's like, here's the expectation. We should get to the next level. Dramatically different mindsets. All right, so to recap, in our quarterfinals matches, we had Korea with the victory. They're going to be shooting off against the Netherlands. So Korea was able to get past Chinese Taipei in a 6-2 victory. The Netherlands over India 6-0. Mexico was able to take victory over Germany, and now People's Republic of China will advance. And we're going to keep rolling. No big breaks. I think there's going to be about a 10-minute break, team, I think is what we're going to get going into the gold medal match. So we're going to pretty much roll as we go.
All right, and do we have a little time just for some quick stats about the match we've just watched, Greg?
Absolutely. As we look at photographs that are coming from the venue, sure. Go ahead, Bernardo.
Yeah. So it was just interesting. So everyone shot the qualification round, and each archer then was assigned a position, a seed. And the lowest seeded archer in this match amongst both Indonesia and China was Indonesia's Nurafifa Kamal. And she ended up being the one who dropped most points in this match. So yeah, she ended up dropping a lot of precious points, and but her teammate Octavia Reza wasn't much better than she was, and it's interesting because it makes me think about the match between Taipei and Korea. That Taipei, they had a chance when Korea was shooting somewhat lower scores for their standards, and I believe that Indonesia, they failed to capitalize as well when China dropped some sets and were struggling with the wind themselves. So yeah, but in the end, it's just interesting to see the tendencies and the patterns that we saw in qualification show themselves again in match play. So of course, in matches, anything can happen, but it tends to go along the same lines of the qualification round, and this is what we've seen here.
And Lloyd, don't you feel like having a 72 arrow qualification round is a good indicator of that? Because yeah, you can come out and have a bad end here or there, but if you have a certain level that you're at with your shooting, that 72 arrows is going to prove that.
Yeah, I think, there's it should be that the qualification round is going to tell you where people should be seated. And actually, Jim Easton wanted to eventually have the world rankings predetermined seeding, kind of like they do in tennis, so that we didn't actually seed during the competition, but that never really took place, and you really don't know what's going to happen. Jay Bars used to just call qualification round, he'd just call it practice, because he's, Jay Bars, the Olympic gold medalist in 1988, although they were shooting the Grand FIDA back then, but he just said it was just practice, because it didn't matter where you seed, you got to shoot and then compete to win. Of course, the idea is the higher you seed, then that means the lower ranked archers you should be shooting against. But it also depends, if you could have a highly ranked archer that had an equipment failure or just had a bad day or made a mistake somewhere along the way, and all of a sudden you got a very high ranked top archer down in a low seed, and they might start taking out higher ranked archers, So yeah, it's really, it can go almost in any way, but very often it does kind of give you an idea of the ability of that archer or what their average scoring will be.
Well, what's unique too about these games is that normally if you're going to shoot a world archery event, or if you're going to shoot a local, like continental like for instance, we shoot USA Archery, which is under the World Archery rules. We could have in one category 110 people or more show up to qualify, but you only take the top 64 in eliminations. So some people will shoot their qualification round and go home. But here in these games, since there's so 64 athletes, everyone's guaranteed to shoot an elimination match. So you're dealing with such a high level. And if there is some type of disaster, so like Lloyd was talking about in these elimination brackets, it's if you're the number one qualifier, you're going to shoot against the 64th place qualifier in your first round, and number two against 63, and number three against 62, and so on as they get to being in the middle, which I'm sure at your level, Chawan, I'm sure that, you haven't qualified many times in the middle of that. But I find that qualifying in the middle can be the most difficult because you're shooting against someone that is so close to your score that literally could have had a wind blow or something else. That's my experience with it. I would rather be separated. Even if I'm the underdog, I would rather be separated from someone than in the middle. What's your experience been with your elimination or your qualification rounds getting into elimination matches?
Yeah, actually, I leveled high a lot, but in that situation, I really don't like by because, of course, it's a big advantage for getting by, but I want to get used to the field. So as we could see the previous game that Korea and some by teams was struggling at first, but they of course they made up and they could back it up. But in my situation, it's if I made some mistakes in at the start, it's really hard to make up. So I wanna do a match.
Come out of the gate really strong, as we like to say. Yeah, it is really important. I'm curious to find out, Chawan, how many arrows do you generally shoot when you're training a day versus like what a recurve archer shoots? Because I know that recurve archers often have high volumes of arrows. On the compound side of things, do you shoot a similar volume of arrows or is it less?
Yeah, of course, recurve shooters shoot a lot more than compound, but we usually shoot 200 to 300 every day. So
Wow.
9 to 6.
9 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. Incredible.
Yeah, like just working because we do for a living. We do archer for a living, so yeah, just like you working.
Yeah, not like me working. No way.
Oh, really?
I'm a 12 to 1 o'clock. No, I'm just kidding. That's more like Lloyd, right, Lloyd?
Yeah.
Relaxing when you can. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and game will just now begin.
That's an interesting comment. This Korean women's team could beat any men's team. I think there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Korean men's team.
No. I wonder when they're training if they ever shoot off against each other.
Ooh.
You ever heard anything like that?
It's not. They could win. They could beat men's. Of course, the average of men is usually high than women's, but in that high level athletes, it's not really matter. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen. That's the point. All right, so here we go. Competition.
Yeah, that's the point.
Korea's already shot their first arrow in the semifinal match. It's 9. Second arrow is going to be a 9 as well. They're going up against the Netherlands. This match to determine who gets to the gold medal match. Years and years of training all culminating in this young Korean team. Just really a lot of confidence, a lot of smiles. I'm curious, Chawan, like one of the perceptions that we have in the United States about archery in Korea is that it's like the number one sport in Korea. Now, I've actually done the research and found out it's not the number one sport in Korea, but it's like the number 4 most popular sport in Korea, which is massive on its own. I'm curious to find out, like, how does that, why from your perspective, is archery so popular in Korea? Is it something that's involved in the schools? Do people get to shoot it when they're young? Like, how is it so
Yeah.
popular?
It's not really popular, but I don't know why, but we really growed in strong from comparing the history. We have really strong history. And then there is elementary school who have archery team. They just build like this. So build like from elementary school to middle school, and then so two of them of this Korea team is business team, and Lim Si-hyun is only a university student.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Well, they're doing well right now.
I
They
think
start off
they
9, 9,
are
10.
relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah, they look relaxed, right? Like,
Hmm.
do you
Now
think
getting used to
that
the
this team
field.
being relaxed is a function of the three of them working together for quite a bit of time? Or will you think the coaching
Mhm.
is also having an influence on keeping them kind of centered, grounded, and smiling?
Yeah, of course, the coaching is really matter, and they actually the behind the archer really kind of giving them advice to make it comfort, relax, and just don't think about that. Don't think about the other things. Just focus on your shot and just be yourself, like things.
Well, Korea training really hard to get towards the gold medal match. They open
Hmm.
up with a 57. They only missed 3 points in 6 arrows. For the Netherlands, they're down 5 points with 2 arrows to go. So there's not enough
Hmm.
points on the board for the Netherlands currently to win. So Korea is going to go up 2-0 right out of the gate. But it is important, Lloyd, right now for the Netherlands to put some decent points on the board, even though we're in the set point scoring system, isn't it?
Yeah, I think anytime you can put some pressure on the other team, otherwise they really start to relax and shoot well. And I think that's kind of where Korea might be right now, figuring they don't have the pressure right now if you don't shoot some good arrows up there. They look quite relaxed.
So in competition, I think it's really important not to think about opponents or the target, the scores. Just be ourselves, be myself. It's really important.
So then do you find
No
that
matter
team
how.
rounds is a bit more relaxing
Mhm.
then, because during these times when the arrows are getting
Yeah.
scored and then the arrows are getting pulled, you can actually have conversations with your friends?
Yes. Yeah, I can have conversation and I can be relaxed with that conversation. And if I trust my teammates, it's helping.
Mm.
If I can I could make some mistake, but my teammates can make it up. So it's good part of with the team matches. Individual, I'm alone. I feel lonely.
Oh yeah.
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 I get that. I mean, you're talking about a lot of archers around the world who practice by themselves, that are trying to get to this stage someday, or even try to be
Um,
good in their hometown or something, and
mhm,
it definitely can be like that. Yeah.
mhm,
You and the radio or something, playing radio. Listen to me.
mhm.
You and streaming Pandora. Sorry, Lloyd. I just threw us back in time. If you're watching the feed right now along with us at your local, look at the stadium is packed. I mean, it is just incredible. The atmosphere is amazing. This Paris 2024 games, they've done an outstanding job of putting together an incredible archery finals venue. Our first day of competition for the women's team finals. Bernardo, what you got?
Yeah, as we begin this second set, I just wanted to say that Korea shooting 57 for the first set is the best set that we've seen today so far. So maybe this is bad news for Team Netherlands, because it seems that Korea has found their shooting, and yeah, they'd better watch out. They got to put the Korean team under pressure if they want to stand a chance.
All right, if you're watching us live on our YouTube feed and you're curious as to the footage that we're watching and you're in the Netherlands, I believe it's on NOS. And then, Jawan, help me out here. I think it's KBS, MBC, SBS in Korea. Those are all, I guess, channels, right? So
Yeah, channel broadcasting.
maybe you should repeat that information in Korean if anybody's watching this YouTube feed from Korea and they need that information. Would you do that for me to help me out a little bit?
They're experts, so.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, start strong.
It's a really good start from the Netherlands, 10-10, but that 7 drifting out. It feels like the match is starting to slip away. Korea going 10-9, and now the third arrow. So the first half of this set.
World record
2-0 lead for Korea. Ooh. All right.
So tied
Anything
with 3
can
arrows.
happen.
Anything can happen, but I just love
anything
Sochawan's reaction is the perfect of them all, right? It's just like, ooh. That's what we do when we're sitting on the couch at home watching this. Yeah, exactly. When no one's watching us live on YouTube and we're like, oh man, that one's gonna sting. Gabby Schlusser here. I think at 10 is going to be really important if she can get this one towards the middle.
So we say 9s aren't good enough today
against Korea. I mean, first and foremost, Lucy. I mean, this is the biggest stage in the world. You're going up against some of the most talented teams, well-coached teams, well-funded teams. It feels like if you're not in the gold, it's just not happening for you.
Yeah. It's crazy because these guys shoot at 70 meters, whereas obviously us compound archers shoot at 50 meters. And yet their scores are pretty much the same level as some compound archers. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And they're 20 meters further back.
Ooh.
All right, so an opening, So a 10 here ties it, but anything other than a 10, and it looks like Netherlands is going to grab some set points here. Is this going to be my shoot-off match? Oh, it's a 9.
Anything can happen, Greg.
What?
Do you think we'll get a shoot-off? We'll finally get a shoot-off?
Dude, as a fan, that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm looking for
maybe
it.
not everyone on this panel. Maybe not everyone on the panel is open for a shoot-off. I don't know. I know that I'm rocking my team USA shirt. So. And we're out of this one for women's team final. And, of course, on the U.S. side, with only Brady Ellison qualifying on the men's side, there's no team possibility for the U.S. But I'll keep my dream alive. Look at that shot. Incredible. Right in the 10 ring.
She looks excited about it, too.
And the 2-10 really was important for that match.
I really like
Oh,
that they've on their bucket hats. On their bucket hats, they've got their little safety not safety clips, paper clips, just to keep their bucket hat away from their string. Like, really clever. Because obviously all these recurve archers tend to use bucket hats, whereas compounds use visors or peak caps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would always think a bucket hat would get in the way.
A what?
So the bucket hat has short distance of the head. So because Recurve have long distance of both, so the string is really just right in front of the head. So it has to be really short.
Do you shoot with a hat?
My thought. It's just my thought. Huh?
Yeah. Do you shoot with a hat when you compete?
Yes. Because sometimes it's really shiny, so I need a shadow of my own.
I wish. I can't wear a hat because I get a ring around my head, a tan. So I can't do it.
Then you need
I'm
you need a
Okay.
bucket
in the
hat
middle of an
and a
open
career.
field with the sun shining, and I'm just like trying to see through my peep sight going, please, it's crazy.
Can I point out a technical difference here on these two teams that I find
Yeah,
interesting?
of course.
If you look at their eyes and look at their faces, and you watch the Koreans, and I always try to work with archers, both eyes open and no blink. There's just no change in the face at all during the shot. But if you watch all of the Netherlands archers are all kind of squinting their one eye, and then they kind of open both eyes when they release. Their face doesn't stay the same. It's just kind of interesting, the difference.
Well, to add to that too, Lloyd, the one thing I did notice about the Korean team is that when they address the target, right after the arrow's knocked up and they're getting ready for their shot process, you can see that athlete's looking down, and then as she starts to lift the bow up, she starts to acquire the target. The Korean archers are staring at the target from the moment like the arrow's knocked up. It's like their focus the whole time is sitting right in the middle of the target. And I noticed from some other shooting sports that I've done before is that it's always an advantage, to just it's like anything, right? Skiing, like look wherever you're looking, you're going to go. So I find that, to add to your point, fascinating as well.
Yeah.
So you can see eyes down, looking at the knocking point, drawing back, and then this archer acquires the target. But watch the next
Squints
time we
that
see the next
eye.
3 arrows of the Korean athletes when they start looking directly at the target.
And then see how she kind of blinks and opens her eyes, whereas the Koreans, their face and facial expressions stay very still. It's like you can't even tell they shot the arrow.
Yeah, they're bow
That's
armed
kind of the
too.
way I like to coach archers.
Actually, the
Fine.
blinking is body react of the body movement. So if there is no blinking, then it's really steady. It's
Yeah, I
Oh,
say that
interesting.
a blink is an indication of a flinch on the shot, which is an execution error.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes your eyes get dry. It's windy. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you can blink before and after, but not on the shot is where it makes the difference.
All right, I got to write this down.
Ooh,
Look at the group. So,
Yeah.
yeah, not a lot of tens in there, but I mean, or
They're all
half
there.
tens. Do you see that one as a 10, Lucy? The last one.
Yeah, so I've put it
57.
in as a 10. Yeah. Incredible shooting.
I mean, for the Netherlands, they need 3 tens. First one delivered.
Threw that one in there.
Yeah.
2 to go.
How you feeling, Gabby?
Like,
A little bit of
deep breath.
pressure right now.
Yeah, I could see her
Deep
left
breath.
arm is really shaking. Oh,
Nice.
delivered.
Whoa!
Gabby's
Whoa!
gone for
Oh,
it.
wow.
Love it.
Oh,
Wow.
show me another 10.
Okay, so she looks a bit more confident. They look a bit more confident, even though it's a 10 to win. Oh.
Oh!
Oh! They just got a 10. There you go. There's the scores on the doors, guys.
Wow.
Oh, 58.
Beating a 57 in a team round is amazing to do. That is incredible.
Amazing.
Does that
They-
mean that the Netherlands go
Dude, the Koreans look shocked. They're like, "What? Could you explain to me what
Yeah,
exactly
like what just
here?"
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, 57 is not losing point, actually.
No.
No.
It's so strong.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Both are great, really great.
The other thing too for the Netherlands is, I mean, I remember I've had these conversations with Gabby Schlusser. I've worked with her before, and we're definitely good friends. And I think it was like just the accomplishment, that they got the 3 spots just to come to the Olympics for this team, because you got to understand, Gabby Schlusser, originally from Mexico, shot from Mexico, married Mike Schlusser, and now lives there, and transferred to the team in the Netherlands. And the shooters that she shoots with are young. They don't have a lot of experience, and this is an incredible run. And boy, if you could pull off a 58 like that, I would imagine too that it's a confidence swing. It's a shift, you know. So I think Lloyd brings up a good point too. It's like you definitely don't want to celebrate. That's one end. It is one end, you know, but nonetheless. Now I think that you think as a team, the Netherlands, again, looking at the feed, Korea comes in as the number 1 seed, the Netherlands coming in as the number 12 seed. And they are now up 4 set points to 2 against the juggernaut that is the Korean team.
I think we're gonna have your tie here. Your
You think
tie
so?
break. Yeah.
Ten to start for Korea.
They're back with a vengeance.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're going to see a 60 now.
Really
Well,
fast shooting.
Just saying.
yeah, I saw that too. The pace was like right there. Interesting.
Yeah.
And these are like good 10s as well. They're not just scraping. They're not scraping in. They're not just clipping.
Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
Okay, come on, Netherlands. What are you gonna do?
It's almost like they just said, "Oh, hey Netherlands, did you have fun shooting that 30? Watch this."
Yeah.
It's now our turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, 8.
Bit of a bobble. 8. First arrow for the Netherlands. This is on the back of a 30 shot by Korea. The max points you can shoot in one of these ends is 60 points, and Lucy called it, but Korea's halfway there. Oh, and Gabby sends one high in the 8 ring.
Okay.
I don't know, Lloyd. Maybe this isn't going tied. Maybe I'm not getting my shoot off. Certainly is.
Right.
So
Are we going to see a 60?
yeah, that's the question. Shoot off looks like it's inevitable at this point. Oh, okay. 4 for 4 on the 10s.
Look at those groups.
Looks so comfortable.
Not fun when they do that to you.
It's like someone said, "Hey, why don't you just grab a couple clicks to the left and move that group over?"
She chunked that one.
Yeah. Wow, huge 9. Wow. Commentators curse. It's Lucy's fault.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
They'll get a 60 in the next
Oh
round.
my,
Yeah.
59. Dude, how many
Not
X's
bad.
were in there too? There's like 2 or 3 X's in
With a
there.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 3. I think it's 3. 3 or 4.
3 X's?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, 3 axes. That's amazing.
Okay.
So regardless what happens, we're going to have a
So-
shoot off.
We're going to shoot off.
Shoot
We're
off.
going to shoot off.
Do you want to
Very
explain
excited.
what the shoot off is?
Bernardo can explain it. He did a great job last time. Is he still with us?
Positive, affirm.
Hi, Lucy.
Even though you can't see me.
See?
now you see me.
We got to move Lucy up. All right, so
Why
there's
are
still
you
narrow to go
hiding?
here for the Netherlands, but we're in a situation where we know, because, you know, we're archers, we know what the points are. So it looks like we're going to go to our first shoot-off of the day. Bernardo, explain it one more time. How does a shoot-off work?
Pretty straightforward. 1 arrow for each archer of each team, and they're going to be shooting alternating fashion. So it's going to be 1 arrow for Korea, 1 for Netherlands, and so on. So highest sum wins. In case sums are tied, then the team with that arrow closest to the center wins and goes through to the gold medal match. If the closest arrow by each team is too close to call, we can't tell which one is closest to the center, then you check the second arrow closest to the center.
All right, Lloyd, how do you coach this right now? What are you talking to your athletes about?
Well, I think it's really important first to keep them in the game. Make sure they're not thinking about the past or the future, but just the right now and what they've got to do. And then, I'm really big on just saying, just get up there and just shoot your regular old shots. I think too many, sometimes coach will say, shoot a strong shot. It's like, well, I don't want an archer to try to shoot a better shot, because a better shot's going to be a different shot. I don't want a different shot. I just want a regular old shot. So really just, get up there and just shoot your regular old shot, and to me as a coach, just keeping them calm, relaxed, and prepared to get up there and just do what they need to do.
Great advice.
It's going to be a
Don't
tough
forget,
one. The Koreans are on. They're sighted in. They're hammering the middle. The Netherlands, shot quite a few arrows out all over the place in the red on that last end. So it looks like the Koreans have a pretty good advantage going into this. But anything can happen. You got the pressure. You got the conditions. You've got sometimes just luck. Anything can happen right now. And this will be a major upset if Netherlands takes out Korea.
Major upset. The number 1 seed against 12. That's a big deal. And I wonder. Obviously, Gabby Schuster, she's got a lot of experience, so I'm sure she's imparting her knowledge on them. But in this case, the Netherlands should start off first by our rules because they're the lower ranked seed. Oh no, wait! It looks like Korea's going to go first.
Yeah, no, it's contrary.
It goes the
Korea,
original.
Highest seed they choose.
It goes the original. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to the original order.
Lloyd, would you change the order of your shooters at all at this point in team running because of this situation, or no?
No,
Okay.
because they're used to shooting in an order, and when you change the order, that just causes uncertainty.
All right. First,
Everyone else is
we're going to go
hard.
for score.
Hold it.
She looks slow and careful.
That heartbeat. That's how I feel right now.
I really hate that heartbeat beeping sound. It causes more.
Yeah.
It make my own heart beating bigger. I really hate that.
Our producers are having some fun.
Oh,
All right. So point lost. We still have 2 arrows to go for each team.
Anything can happen too. I've seen it go on the last arrow, so anything can happen. It's a lot of pressure on that last archer.
So solid 10, and currently of the 3 arrow shot, that arrow would be the closest to the center. And you're looking at, if you're looking at that feed, you see 70.3 centimeters. So that's through a system they're estimating. There would be a measurement if it was really close. Ooh, wind started blowing for Gabby. All of a sudden, I saw her hair move quite a bit.
it just pushed her. So,
Mm-hmm.
You can see the wind is picking up there.
Oh,
oh, 7.
She blinked on that shot. Did you see that?
Oh,
so it's all up to the young girl from the Netherlands.
that's right.
Yeah, but it's already over.
There's not enough points, yeah.
Long shot. Shouldn't like it.
So close. Under pressure, Korea's able to pull it off. But the Netherlands, what a challenge. And hopefully for the Netherlands, that's going to give them even more confidence as they're going to head off to the bronze medal match. But now for the Korean team, they are guaranteed to shoot for gold. As we have another match to decide who's going to be competing against them. As we continue to get closer and closer to the what some people would call the inevitable showdown of China versus Korea.
The Netherlands, the women there really showed some strength going up against Korea and coming out in a tiebreak. That's amazing. That's good shooting.
Picking up
Incredible
on
stuff.
what you've just said, Lloyd, I think also the resilience and the strength showed by the Dutch girls also came from the qualification round, because they had a huge upset in the qualification round, especially Laura van der Winkel, who we're seeing the replay in the feed. She really shot a very underwhelming score, and which is kind of understandable. Her first Olympics, everyone feels the pressure. But they managed to come back really strong. I really thought that they were going to be defeated by France in the morning today. France with the home crowd support and all, but Netherlands, they just took no notice of the French team. They just stormed through, and then they passed the quarterfinals. Now they really put up a fight against Korea. It's really impressive. And just to wrap this off, and just to bring one stat here, Im Ji-hyun, she has shot 89 arrows in this competition so far, and only 5 were out of the yellow. So 3 in the qualification round, and then she shot an 8 in the second set of this match, and now she shot a 7 in the shoot-off. So 89 arrows, 82 in the yellow ring. It's really, really impressive.
Wow. All right, so next up is going to be the People's Republic of China versus Mexico. Coming off of a very emotional win for Mexico. The question is that Lloyd brought up, Lloyd Brown, left part of your screen, Lucio Sullivan on top, Socha Wan, bottom left part of your screen, and Bernardo Oliveira, who I don't say his last name correctly because I don't have a Brazilian accent, but it's close enough. But the number 2 seed going up against the number 3 seed, which we bring you all this action live on our YouTube feed and Archery Plus, as we are watching our feeds, as hopefully you are watching along with us while you get to watch this incredible Archery in Paris, day 1 of medals. So this match to determine who gets to shoot for gold and who gets to shoot for bronze. And all smiles on the Mexican team, as I think perhaps maybe they've exceeded their expectations getting this deep into the women's team finals competition.
Maybe they have such a high standard to meet, you know, like the Alejandra was the rookie in a very successful previous generation by the Mexicans with Aida Roman and Mariana Avitia. Both of them won medals in London 2012. But what's really the biggest story for me about the Mexican team is Ana Vasquez, who we're going to be seeing shooting last in the rotation, because she went through a pretty invasive surgery on her shoulder last year, and I really thought that she didn't stand a chance of making it to the games, and she came back so quickly, she recovered so quickly, made it to the team, and now she's here at the Olympics. It takes so much resilience, so much strength. It's impressive, and now she's here at the brink of fighting, of perhaps winning an Olympic medal. It's impressive.
So many great stories. Important to come out of the gate, though, strong. I think, like I said before, I think the story of this for a lot of these athletes, when we find out more information after today's matches, is how tricky the wind got at times. You know, you can see kind of upper left part of the feed that we're watching. You can see the flags flying in one direction, but you know, if we're looking at the right part of this, the left part of the stadium, would answer a lot of the questions as to why some of these big misses have been all to the left. Beautiful day, though, in Paris.
See the
Archery
French
in
flag in
Paris
the
for
background.
2024 games. Here we go. So Archer stepping up to the line. Arrow is now knocked. Deep breath from our first archer from China. Back to full draw. And boom, that shot went off quick. And a 9. Just outside left, out of the 10 ring. A little fiber pin going on there on that site. Of course, for recurve archery, Olympic recurve archery, you see that the athletes do have the ability to have a little bit of it's called a scope or a pin in there. If it's large enough to have a lens, there's no magnification allowed. So they can technically have a lens in there, but it has to be 0 power. It's just basically clear. Kind of like in the 80s when people used to wear glasses that didn't actually have powered lenses in them. We called them
Those have come
attitude
back.
glasses back in the day.
They've come
No,
back.
Not
They're
that long
back.
ago, I've
Attitude
seen
glasses
people.
are back, huh?
They're back.
Yeah, I saw them in Korea. Have you seen Chewan?
What?
They're glasses, but they're
glasses
not
that-
prescription.
They're not
Ah,
prescription glasses that people just wear them with like
yeah.
just glass in them. Okay.
Not really.
All right, so out of the box, 28 points out of a possible 30 for China. Mexico sits 8-8 so far. Third archer lines up, sends the shot down range, and drifts right in the gold, but a 9. So a 3-point advantage with 3 arrows to go for each team in this match to determine who gets to shoot for gold in the Paris 2024 games. 8 wide right. And as we've seen from comments since we've been on YouTube, which, by the way, if you have a comment or a question, go ahead and get on in the comments section and let us know, or you can hit us up on the X platform. Just tag in @WorldArchery. But that was a strange follow through on that shot. Didn't look like a comfortable shot. So after a super strong opening for China, now we're going 8-8. These last 2 arrows. And a 9. So an opportunity definitely here. The door is open for Mexico to grab these set points. Oh. The tone setter ended up dropping on the, was that the 5-6 line, Lucy?
6, yeah.
6, I
I
think.
had to open up my full target there. They've just not settled.
8-7
Is this,
liner for that second inning.
Is this, as you said, the because of all the celebrations from the last match?
Lloyd, comment?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem to hurt the Netherlands girls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. So what are we saying that they the penultimate arrow was arrow number 5 from Mexico? Are we saying that's an 8 or a 7?
I think it's an 8.
Yeah,
it's
I'd
an
call
8.
it an 8.
Drag it into the 8, shall we? There we go.
So a good opener for China at 53. It looks like possibly 47. Once again, this is archery, so we don't really call anything official until the archers or the judges have a chance to go down to the targets. They'll look at them, confirm all the scores. Chawan, how much do you like shooting these final type matches where you don't actually have to walk down to the target and pull your arrows and score them yourself?
Sorry, but my I can hear you, cannot hear you clearly. Problem with my
The
AirPods.
batteries on your
I'll
yeah,
fix
they're
it.
going. Okay, all right. You got to charge them up.
Okay.
I always found, like, for me in qualification rounds or practice, you're always interacting with your arrows. You're always interacting with your target. It's like a process of walking down and grabbing your arrows and scoring your arrows and coming back. But in a finals venue, it's just a different situation. You shoot, and then people just take care of you, you know. And so I
I
always
much
found it
prefer
just
it.
an interesting little dynamic in terms of, I don't know, the rhythm in which you shoot. You know, the time in between the ends that you shoot, that it's just different, and it's something that needs to be practiced. Bernard, do you find that as well? Do you when you practice for archery, do you practice your normal, just obviously arrow volume, but do you ever practice just like competing in elimination matches, 3 arrows at a time with that kind of pacing?
Yeah. Actually, I think that this is a little bit underrated by a lot of people, but slowly people are paying more and more attention to this. Me personally, I just feel that it's 2 totally different sports almost. Like when everyone's shooting simultaneously, it doesn't matter whether qualification or matches, or when it's stage shooting, alternate shooting like this. You have to practice for that. And this is what Korea does. They mimic the whole stadium back at their training center in Korea, which is totally amazing, and the results are there to be seen.
So 8-9-8. Look, what time is it? 8-9-10 for 27 for Mexico. Definitely a very competitive score in what we've seen so far. As evident by the first arrow from China, it drifts wide 7. As you can see, the bottom part of the screen that we're watching, China is up 2 set points to 0. First to 5 set points wins. A win per end gives you those 2 set points. A tie gives you 1 apiece. So these matches roll pretty quickly. And if you are watching this for the first time, you're kind of watching maybe your television, you're going to notice that there are all kinds of tones that happen. So each archer is really trained when you compete at this level to understand what the single tone, double tone, and so there's tones indicating like when the match starts, when there's like pre-match, like it's okay, we're getting ready to go, and there's 10 seconds or whatever. So if you're hearing those beeps and buzzes, they're all for a very specific reason. Whoa. Right in the middle for Valencia. So 10s back-to-back for Mexico in the middle of their 6-arrow end. Just outside the 10 ring, but solidly in the yellow for 9. This is an important arrow of this end for Mexico to stay in it, to send this to 2 sets apiece, set points apiece, and a good solid 9. So a great group from Mexico. So 55 now to 24 with 3 arrows to shoot for China. Communication between teammates. Talking about whatever, who knows?
It's also nice to see their coaches, keeping them calm, and he was making gestures like "keep calm, you're okay, keep going." I love the team rounds because you've got your friends, your coach. Like, it's so much nicer. People pull your arrows. It's like this is why I do archery. It's team rounds. Love it.
So not enough points left for China for this particular end. So we're going 2-2. Good 10, though, at the bottom. I looked up your stats, by the way, Lucy, the other day.
They're not that good.
How many World Archery medals do you have in your career?
All team ones. All team ones.
There's 4, though. You have
World
4.
Cups.
You have 2 youth and 2.
Yeah.
4 medals. It's impressive.
Thanks.
That's like, it's like Sunday afternoon for So Chewan, like whatever. But 4, you got 4.
Legit, yeah.
When we're watching replays on this feed, Lloyd, I'm curious that in between days, like after you leave the venue, how much interaction would you have as a coach with these athletes heading back to the Olympic Village? During this monumental tournament of sport, are you in constant communication with your athletes? Do you give them a lot of time to kind of breathe and experience what this event has going on? How would you manage that? Do you trust them to be on their own?
Individuals. It depends on the individuals and depends on the team. When we were in Atlanta, they had this laser tag thing in the village, and when we were shooting, we were all playing laser tag. Me and Rod and Butch and Justin. It was like nonstop laser tag. Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes they might go off and do something with their family, or sometimes they might want some alone time. But a lot of it, we're still practicing. We're out on the practice field while the other matches are going on. Like, I'm sure right now all the men are over on the practice field, doing their team round practice, getting ready for tomorrow. So we definitely be together. I like the team to eat together and stay together when they can.
And coaches stay in the Olympic Village as well?
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay. 9-10 to start for the first 2 arrows from China in a match that has us tied at 2 set points apiece. The first of 5 win and goes to shoot for gold against Korea. Your comments are welcome. Your questions are welcome in the comment section here on the YouTube feed, or you can, if you're watching us on Archery Plus, you can go get us up on X platform. Just tag in @World Archery. All right, so to kick this set off, Mexico starts with a 9. First order of business, keep it in the gold. Not that one.
Wasn't the gold.
You
That was
jinxed
not the
it.
gold. I didn't know. Come on.
They shot so well
the
the last
Mexican
end.
team looks really serious than before, comparing the previous game.
Mhm.
Serious.
Whoosh. I think the good thing with the set systems is that, you know, even if you do get a bad set, is it kind of okay? I'm not really sure. Like with recurves, obviously, with compounds, you know, everyone's the same scores almost, but with recurves, you could kind of get away with coming back from it. I feel.
I mean,
No,
that's
true.
the
That's
good thing about
that's an advantage. An advantage of the set system is you do have the opportunity to come back. It's obviously not great. It's always better to have that win on the set points, gives you that advantage, but it doesn't mean it's all over if you chunk an arrow.
And I mean, there have been statistics that people have run on the set system that I think that support that, you know, the teams that win aren't necessarily the teams that shoot the highest points.
Yeah.
And so for some of us that come from the compound background, it's really difficult, I think, to reconcile that. But from a commentator standpoint or a fan standpoint, I love the fact that teams that are down can come back, you know, and win. So like to make a game, I think, a little bit more interesting and a little bit more compelling, I think the set scoring system works, where we know that in compound, especially when you get to a level of world archery, that when you're in the finals and you see someone, you know, the #1 archer in the world drop 2 points, and you're like, well, this match is over, you know, and I would say probably 80% of the time it can be, where this is just a totally different game and strategically the way you play it. So for Mexico, it's been nothing but a couple of 7s, a couple of 9s, and an 8. So the points are out of reach for them in this one. And so they're going to finish off with a 48-56 in this set. That's going to give China a 4-2 advantage. Now moving into this 4th set. I mean, it's, you know, to get to gold, it's just no question. It's got to be a win for Mexico. The tie won't do it.
And they started off so strong with 57 points. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe just a sign of a younger team, experience-wise, feeling the pressure. There's a lot of different factors involved for sure.
Yeah, could be. Anna and Angela Ruiz, they're both so young. And this Chinese team, they are battle-hardened. They've been shooting for medals at every competition so far this year. They've shown that they have what it takes to challenge for gold. And I think they're edging closer and just sharing. I was texting with Vanessa, who joined us not long ago, and she said that in the previous match when the Netherlands shot at 58 and went up 4-2 on Korea, she saw the Chinese archers kind of celebrating in the pen, you know. So of course they would rather shoot for gold against the Netherlands than Korea, but it's looking like it's taking shape that it's gonna be what most of us expected: Korea v China for gold.
Pretty incredible. Comment there, should we let the Americans train in Mexico? This Mexican team is determined and tough. I mean, Lloyd, I've heard stories. There's been plenty of times when, I mean, both of you actually, Jawan, and where teams have come to other countries and trained with you know, across countries plenty of times, right?
That's really interesting to train in another situation, environment. Yeah, it was a really good experience.
Mm. Of course, on the women's team, the
Mm-hmm.
American women's team too, two of the athletes have dual citizenship, I believe. I mean, two of the women speak Spanish, you know, as I think their first language. But Mexico's definitely a strong team.
Yeah, how many women
Yes.
in this Olympics are actually from Mexico?
Good question.
We
Yeah,
have
Gabby.
Gabby as well.
Gabby.
Yeah, one
Yep.
for the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting.
Look at Mexico cranking out some incredible archers. And they go 10-10-9 for the opener. And
You're
8.
gonna have another shoot off in this one.
Yeah,
here we go.
maybe. Yeah. Greg's wanting those shoot offs.
I can hear the
got them.
Jaws music playing in my head. Dun dun. Dun dun
This
dun
could be
dun.
a good shoot off too.
Dun 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 dun. It's funny too, because like when I watch archery, I always look at the smaller things. I look at the way the eyes are. I look at the athletes taking deep breath. Good 9 there. You know, it's the little things that make elite athletes. And obviously you can tell from their coaching, you know. And it's those little things that make all the difference in the world. Of course, I don't know how you could get to the grip that you get to on an Olympic recurve bow. Those things are so complicated. The amount of material they have to make, or wood, or all kinds of stuff they put on those grips to get it to fit them. I don't even know how you get to that point. Well, compound stuff's a lot easier. A lot easier.
Yeah, they just quit putting the grips on the bows.
Yeah, that's it. Put some tennis tape around
World
it
Archery,
and be done with it.
earlier this week, World Archery published an article, a feature showing that the Korean team, most of them, they used grips that were 3D printed. So like they've been working on them for a really long time, and now they have this like super custom 3D printed grip. It's really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and actually,
like,
my
mold
pip
their
side is
hand?
what. Yes, 3D. Yeah, and actually, Hyundai, the company of the Korean company, Hyundai is really big supporter of Korean Federation, and Hyundai made it for us, and gonna make some other tools later. My pip side is also what they made it for us.
Wow, do you run a
That's so
clarifier
cool.
in your peep sight, or do you just run it straight?
No,
with
no,
no
no, no,
clarifier?
just straight, no clarifier.
Oh, okay,
Because
okay. Yeah,
Korea
yeah.
has really rainy. It's really a rainy day, so it's
Oh,
really
okay.
not good for rain. Koreans. Oh yeah.
Well, that nine, they go tie, so that's it. It looks like unofficially 55 points apiece with that 1-9.
Yeah.
Great shot from China, and that's going to give them the win, and they're going to head off to the gold medal match on what is the showdown. The big showdown match in Paris.
Oh, these guys, are they
China,
crying? No, they're not crying yet.
Not yet. It's too early.
Don't
No
cry
crying
yet.
in baseball.
Yeah, don't cry yet.
Yeah, there's no crying in
it.
baseball. Come on.
What's really nice
China
is
now kind of
they seem so serious when they're shooting, but behind the scenes they're all so funny. Like their coach will call me over and be like, "Take a picture of all of us," and you ask them to do like jumps or whatever, and they'll do it. And when they win and stuff, it's like it's so funny because if anyone's watching the Olympics now, they're like, "Oh, archery, it's so serious," but they're not. They're just obviously as soon as you get the bow in your hand, you become serious. It's it's interesting.
It's a great 9 for the win. All they needed. There's a look at the coach on the feed.
It's great.
He is pumped. So now I believe we're going to roll straight into our bronze medal match, which is going to be exciting. I think you have two. You have the. Yeah. Oh, this would be about a 10-minute break we're hearing before we get to the bronze medal match. It's going to be the Netherlands versus Mexico. So what? That's going to be the number 3 seed against the number 12 seed for bronze. That is going to be some match. Okay, so here we are. Women's team finals day. You're watching us live on the YouTube. Unless you're watching this a couple months later. I don't, might not be live, but if you're watching us right now, it's Sunday, Actually, what time is it in Korea right now? Is it past 1 a.m. yet?
Not yet. Almost there. It's 11:40 p.m. So it's almost sleeping time.
So we're all still on Sunday. It's Sunday in Paris.
Yeah.
And it's our first
same day
medals day for archery in these 2024 games, the women team's final. We've shot our quarterfinal matches and our semifinal matches. And so we're down to the last 4 teams, 3 women apiece on each of the teams. And we're going to have the Netherlands and Mexico for bronze. And then it's going to be a mega shoot off for gold between Korea and China. And that gives us an opportunity to talk about some stats. Bernardo, our statistician for this, you got some info for us while we look at photographs coming from the field of play?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was interesting to break down the average of each archer in this match. And what caught my attention here was, before I was saying that like we saw the average and the tendency from qualification showing itself again in the matches, but on the Chinese team, it's actually the contrary, because An Qichuan, who we saw shooting last, she was the 3rd Chinese woman in qualification round. She qualified 26th, while her other two teammates, they were both in the top 10. But An Qichuan, who was the worst of the 3 of them in qualification, she's been really carrying her both teammates, both in the quarterfinal, now in the semifinal. She is definitely the highest scoring Chinese archer so far, and I wonder whether she's gonna keep it up in the gold medal final. Of course, the 3 of them will have to bring their A game if they want to upset Korea. This Olympic final, Korea v China, has happened 3 times before: in Athens 2004, Beijing 2008, London 2012, and of course Korea won all 3 of them. And China, a very strong nation in archery, they have failed to win an Olympic medal in the last 2 editions of the games. But already this is coming to an end already, because the least that they're walking away with here is silver.
Wow, great information. All right. So Chawan, what are your feelings about gold coming up here after this bronze medal match, but being obviously in part of the whole team in Korea? What are your thoughts?
Of course, we cannot think about the color of the medal. It's really hard to take it off. But anyway, it's really good, important points of Korean archery history. So I don't know what to say, because I'm Korean as an archer. I really wish gold for them, but who knows? Everything could be happen. So
will your heart rate go up a little bit, you think, during the gold medal match, or is your heart rate going to go up? Because I mean, it's your country. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, but China is really strong team, so I really cannot prevent what's gonna be happen.
All right. Well, hey, folks, by the way, if you're watching, you want to get it in the comments section. Let's see your predictions. What do you think for bronze between the Netherlands and Mexico? And what do you think for gold between 2 archery juggernauts? I mean, you're going the number 1 seed going up against the number 2 seed. Some people like it like that. Some people like to see the two tops get after it, and it's going to be exciting. But in the bronze medal match, you're going to have the Netherlands at the number 12 seed going up against Mexico in the number 3 seed. Do you think there's going to be a big upset? Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Lloyd Brown, you've been in this situation before as a coach. Gold medal sitting right out there. Even the bronze medal, for people that have a medal potential right now. In between these sessions, between these 10 minutes and stuff, what is your mindset as a coach? What are you trying to accomplish for yourself and for your athletes?
I think we usually just kind of have a little conversation about what we're getting into. But it is all about you play your game. You do the job that you came out there to do. You stay in the game. You never give up. Sometimes it's going to be a hard match, like when we beat Korea for the gold medal, our men's team in 1996, and we knew it was going to be a tough match, but we also knew that we could do it given the right opportunity. So yeah, you kind of you can only think about what you can do, because that's the thing in archery and in some other sports. Your opponent can't block your shot. They can't do anything to throw you off. Although they might try with maybe the way they cheer, sometimes yelling when they call their arrows or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But really, they can't affect you. So you got to get up there and play your game and stay in the game. I think that's the big key. Stay in the game all the way till the end. But I think everybody has a different way of dealing with things. Some run off to use the bathrooms, and some
get the nerves out, as it were.
Yeah.
Interesting position to be in, and the fact too that archery is one of the sports that kind of kicks off, this whole games for 2024. It also makes it, electric. And I like the fact that the women get center stage on Sunday, and then tomorrow's Monday, and then the men are going to be going. But we're getting ready to roll as the athletes are already on the field of play. So introductions once again for the Dutch shooters. Of course, Gabby Schlusser is a medalist herself, silver medal in Olympics. So I'm sure that she had some choice words of encouragement for her teammates. And of course, across the aisle, her old team, Mexico. So maybe a little grudge match from Gad. I'm making stuff up here. Who knows? She'll probably text me later saying, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, I don't know. Build some drama. Or as the Canadians would say, build some drama. Get some drama going. See what it's all
old
about.
Team versus her new team.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, you know how it is in stick and ball sports. You got a quarterback that's been playing at a team for a while in American football, and he gets released, and when his team has to play his old team, it's all fired up. Bronze medal match, women's team finals. You're watching our Archery in Paris watch-along party with our distinct panel of experts. Upper left-hand corner, Lucy O'Sullivan is keeping score for us, been plotting these arrows all day long. Not an easy feat, doing an outstanding job. Lloyd Brown, of course, gold medal coach in the Olympics in his past. Socha Wan, who is on the Korean national team, compound shooter, many-time medal winner, and given us outstanding insight into this sport, and especially the mindset of the domination of Korea over the years. And of course, Bernardo Oliveira, Olympic shooter himself and recurve in this discipline, joining us as the statistician. I'm Greg White. I know nothing about archery, so thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We have our feed that we're watching just like you. So hopefully you're watching along with us. If you have any questions, any comments as we get to these final two matches of the women's team finals day, this is for bronze. And kicking us off is going to be the Netherlands with the first arrow of the bronze medal match. Boom. High 9 in the gold. Good start.
Greg,
Into
you
the
shouldn't
wily
do
veteran.
yourself down like that. Greg White, of course, knows archery. He's a compound shooter extraordinaire.
Oh, something like that. I am on the Masters U.S. national team. I do have my Stars and Stripes jersey. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Can't wear it on here, though, because it's got a sponsor logo on it. Can't do that. So maybe some wind, maybe some nerves, but definitely warm. Netherlands comes out 9-8-8 out of the box. Now to Mexico we go. And a 10 for Valencia, the veteran. If you're just joining us for this bronze medal match for the women's team finals competition, as the second arrow for Mexico goes in the 9 ring. Now starting to pile those points on over the Netherlands in the first of our 3 arrows of 6 for each end of competition. Teams going through a rigorous year-long process of qualifying teams for the Olympics. There's individual spots and then there's team spots, 3 max. If you watch World Archery, generally teams will send 4 archers into the mix. But for this competition, Archery in Paris, they send 3. And of the teams that were here in the qualification rounds that happened several days ago, we're now down to it. Who's going to get to stand on the podium and stand next to either? Well, they're going to stand next to China or Korea, either way, because those are going to be your gold and silver medal finalists. But this last spot for gold, and of course the loser of this match is going to be looking from the outside in. So far for the Netherlands, of the 5 arrow shot, only 1 has found the gold, so not a stellar start.
What are we saying?
I'm going
9
10
or
on.
10?
I'm going 10 on that.
I'd say
I
it's
think it's a
9.
9. I could see a yellow.
Okay, going with the majority.
I'll bet you a
Send that
Kia. Shawan, I bet you Korea it's a 10. Or I bet you a Kia it's a 10. Just kidding.
Because I have wide screen with the monitor, so I could see clearly.
All right. Yeah, I have 2 windows on one small screen, and so it's a little smaller. Plus, your eyes are younger than mine. What you don't see behind the scenes is this.
Mexico is really on it here.
Oh. Yeah, they're crushing it.
It's interesting.
3
Both
points
both
to game.
these teams have shown real signs of brilliance, and then also showing quite a bit of scatter. So you just don't know which one's coming up next. But wow, that was a good end for Mexico. Good strong start.
Are you surprised
I-
to see that up and down, Lloyd? When you get to this level for these games, like overall, or do you
necessarily.
look
Like
at it
say-
and say, "Hey, look, there's, if you look at it, these 2 teams with 6 archers, I think there's only and Bernardo, correct me if I'm wrong, but only 2 of these 6 archers have been to the Olympics before."
2 of these 6.
In this
No,
competition, yeah.
3. 3.
3,
Gabby,
okay.
Anna
Yeah.
Vasquez, and Alejandra Valencia.
Oh, that's right, Anna Vasquez. That's right.
Yeah, she was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to say something. There was something that really caught my attention here. So, highest qualified, highest seeded team or archer gets to choose who shoots first, and most of the time, the highest seeded team picks to choose first because it's so much better to be shooting first and put the pressure on your opponent. But for this bronze medal match, we had Mexico, who seeded 3rd, so higher than the Netherlands, who were last, 12th. So Mexico chose to shoot first to read the conditions, to read the wind. And this is exactly what they did. Like, it totally played in their favor. So the Netherlands really started the match all over the place, not really knowing where to aim. And then when it was Mexico's turn, they just went boom, like 29. And then in the second rotation, they kept on going. And something else that I wonder that might be playing a factor here, this is a repeat of the bronze medal match of the World Championships in Berlin last year, when the Netherlands lost to Mexico, and it was a huge heartbreak because they also lost the Olympic quota. So they came tantalizingly close to qualify for the games of the World Championships, but failed in spectacular fashion. It was a huge heartbreak, and I wonder if that memory is playing on their heads again, now this time with an Olympic medal.
The other thing I want to point out too is the magnitude of a bronze medal when it comes to, you know, these summer games. As we continue to watch Netherlands shoot, they come out of the box 9-10, and now with the third shot, long hold 10. So the clawback. Looking at the medal count so far, I mean, it's early days in these games, but looking at the medal count, you know, you have like Australia is number 1 currently, China's number 2, France, Korea is tied with France in terms of medal count. But so far for Mexico and the Netherlands, they don't have any medals yet. And so the impact of grabbing a medal, and the first medal too, you know, it can have big implications back home, especially for a country like the Netherlands. You know, it can mean TV appearances, and it can mean, you know, more recognition and those types of things. Not that they're thinking about that in the moment, but it's just kind of an overall feel for an impact that a medal can have, especially for countries that haven't scored them yet so far in these Olympics. You know, in this particular case, whoever medals here has the possibility of being on the front page of a newspaper or a web article if you're younger, whatever it is.
Well, these girls from Mexico, they are like super famous in Mexico. Like, everyone knows who they are. They get recognized. It's so nice to see that archery is like that over there. But as you said, it's, you know, getting a medal can really, really help. Yeah, incredible.
But Netherlands is really batting down the hatches on this one, coming out so far 9, 10, 10, 10, trailing 2 set points to 0.
That's been the whole day. It's kind of hot or cold. It's really interesting.
That's why I'm really curious to find out post-match if some of this has to do with the wind blowing, calming down, getting, you know, going again, or if it's just one of those focus things. You know what? When you have a grimace like that after that shot and you don't think it's that good and it ends up in the 9 just outside the 10, you'll take that any day. All right, so for Mexico, the situation currently unofficially is they need to hit 3 10s in order to tie this set, or they're gonna lose this set and go 2-2 set points apiece. So unofficially, again, a 9 for the first arrow from Mexico. So with the amount of points available left on the target, with the arrows left, it looks like for the moment it's out of reach, but a 10. Oof. A lot of movement after the shot and still able to grab a 9. And that's a surprise look for that 9. That. Yeah, you'll take that any day of the week, right? 100%. So we await official confirmation, but it looks like that it's going to be 2-2, all tied up for this bronze medal between Netherlands and Mexico. And our women's team finals. Let's see, we've been at this now for 3 hours. You guys having fun watching archery?
I am.
Always.
Jawan's like, always. Bro, let's go to. I gotta go to sleep, man.
It's her bedtime.
Actually, no.
You have to go to work tomorrow. Do you have to get up and shoot tomorrow? Oh, you had coffee. Yeah.
No, I'm on vacation. So I can chill. Yeah.
Well, thanks for spending some of your vacation with us. We appreciate it. The insight has been.
Thank you for inviting me here. Yeah. It's really honor to be here because Korean archer there is really no person who speaks English, even though I'm not that good. So it was really interesting.
You're very good.
You're very good. You're way better than Bernardo, 100%. Just kidding.
I wish I could
Netherlands
speak
was close,
Korean
but now I
as
think
well
they're
as you
cooking.
speak English.
Dude, I don't speak English that well.
No, I just wish I could speak Korean as well as Chewon speaks English.
Me too.
It's really hard part for the bronze medal match. Someone take medal, but someone has not been, so it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, especially when you're that close. Speaking of that close, what are you going to call that one, Lucy? That was an 8-9 liner.
9.
I'm calling it a
Are
9.
you saying a 9? Okay,
thought
I'll
it
put it
was
in the
a
9. Let's put it on
All right,
the
but
line
Younger Eyes agrees with me. So,
It's a 9. Yeah.
all right. Yes. Oh, well, there's no question about that one. That's an X.
Almost a dead center.
And that 8-9 liner could be relatively critical if things progress the way it could progress, especially like that with an arrow that lands in the 10 ring right off a rip. So currently on the feed that we're getting, the score is 8-8-10 for Netherlands. We think it's a 9. It'll be 8 asterisks, which is kind of that question mark. Judges will go down and take a look at it. But then Mexico's storming right now with 10-9 with the third arrow on the way. So again, that 8 asterisk arrow right now, important, especially with what might happen. You just feel for Netherlands, they need just like to come up with a 30 here.
What are we saying? 9?
9.
Just out.
Oh
Just
yeah,
out.
that's a 9.
9 to me. That was weird. That shot came off a little strange. I've seen her shoot a lot, Gabby. I've shot with her in practice many times. And that one was just a little bit looked kind of weird coming off her
You
fingers.
could see the big movement just before the shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tough if they're getting bounced around by the wind. A lot of times, when they feel the shot going off, if their sight, if their bow arm has got blown off, they're gonna do something to try to steer it back in, and that's where you get sometimes these wild follow-throughs with the bow arm. That was a good shot.
It's a great shot. And 2 10s in a row to lead off her end.
They just run hot or cold, don't they?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, has Mexico only had one outside of the yellow, outside of the gold so far this match?
2.
Take a look at their target. It just kind of struck me there.
They had 2, both in the second set.
2. Okay. Oh yeah, there they are. 8 and one was a 7 liner. This is quite the performance from Mexico. So it looks like they're going to go up 4 sets to 2. So the situation that we're in is really simple. Netherlands, if they were able to come back and win this next set, we're going to be tied up for the bronze medal match, which means we're going to go to a tiebreaker. If we get to that point, we'll explain it again. Especially for those of you that are coming in and out of our coverage here on YouTube, we appreciate it. It's our Archery in Paris watch-along party. Great team of experts. If you have any comments or you have any questions for us, please feel free. And we'll get a chance. We'll pop them up on the screen. A good look at our arrows that are being plotted. And you can see the points per arrow average. And that's something that a lot of people keep track of in archery. For some organizations around the world, it's a metric that's used to help qualify archers to get to a stage like this or to get them onto their national team. So you can see, and by the way, just because you see more 10s than another team doesn't mean their points average is better. It has to do with those other arrows, those 8s that are shot, those 7s that are shot. But you can see right now the way the match is playing out, an 8.8 arrow point value versus 9.3. And with the set scoring system, the way we have it, Mexico has the advantage. Mexico could barely hit yellow against China, but all of a sudden, exactly. And that's what Lloyd, I think, is kind of referring to. It's been very streaky with some of these teams and how they're doing it. There's a question for Bernardo.
Traditionally, Mexico haven't beaten the Netherlands, right? Well, I don't remember a long way back, but last year, the World Championships, as I said before, Mexico did beat the Netherlands when what was a very important match. But it's funny because you were talking about, Greg, that and even the previous comment that Mexico, they've been oscillating so much. They've been up and down, really. And this goes back to the semifinal against China. I wonder if they're going to drop in this fourth set and whether we're headed to a shoot-off. We remain to see.
It'd be pretty incredible from, 12th seed Netherlands? I mean, it's been quite the performance from the team in orange. It's been great to see. But like Chiwan's talking about, anybody who loses this match, it is a heartbreaker because you're there, you've gotten there, and it's not done. But it's still, I think, quite an accomplishment just to get to this bronze medal match. Good start. 10.99 is very solid. But in the last couple arrows, this archer hasn't missed a 10. Just a little left.
Greg, you've done it again. You jinxed him.
Yeah.
So you got to understand the way my brain works. I'm like, wait a second. We're watching this on the internet. There's got to be a little bit of delay. By the time I talk about it, the shot's already happened. That's what I'm thinking. It's these moments that Lloyd has been talking about. So you go 9, and then all of a sudden it's a bit of a high 8. So now it's like, can we reel it back in, or are we going to start hemorrhaging another point or two here? Oof.
They needed that.
X. Yep. So now halfway through this end, it's a 1-point advantage from Netherlands.
Final end.
And with the way Mexico has been a little
arrows.
streaky, right? Yeah, it's just all, for sure, it's all got to be in the gold. Oh, and that's a 7 high.
Oh, I think she took too long. She tried too hard, over trying. You can't do it.
Nine for Gabby. Well, this was Netherlands' opportunity to stay in it and give themselves the possibility of going to a shoot-off. It's not over yet. This is archery. But you can feel it slipping through their grasp. Left 8.
She had the clock got down.
So
to
now it's
3
all in
seconds or
Mexico's
2
hands, right? Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Oh, it looked like they got down to 2 seconds. for the
Yeah, they
last
did.
arrow.
Yep, they got down to 2 seconds.
I wonder what she's saying to her.
So 2 to go. Starts off with a 10.
Oh,
Another
look
10
at
for
that.
Mexico. And the team is getting pumped. We're 1 arrow away from a bronze medal standing on the podium. Archery
She
in
needs
Paris,
to
the Paris
stay.
2024 games. You got 20
Phil's
seconds
got
left on the
pressure
clock.
and she knows it. She's taking her time.
Take a deep breath.
It's good.
She was pumping up her teammates and
She
then had to
looks
calm
good.
herself down.
And a 10.
yeah.
What a way to finish. 3 10s in a row. Incredible. Wow. And the bronze medal
That's
to
time to
Mexico.
celebrate.
Yeah.
Incredible. The 3rd place seed. That's pretty good. 1, 2, 3. Going to stand on the podium in terms of how they qualified. The crowd going ballistic. Can't wait to hear what Vanessa has to say about this one. All right, expert panel, what are your thoughts on that match? Lloyd, you're up first.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it could have gone either way, but Mexico should have by far been the favorites, and they did come out strong there at the end. They shot the way they know how to shoot, and although they had a few little faltering moments there, but overall they shot great and finished up with a 10-10-10. That just makes the celebration even better.
Jawan?
Yeah, that was really good concentration, and now it's really they made me happy. They're really cheering up and celebrating for themselves.
Yeah, I like seeing that motion too. Bernardo, what do you think?
Oh, really thrilling, amazing, and yeah, I said before, Ana Vasquez really she caught my attention because of the amazing recovery story she had from the surgery and everything, and now she's back to, and now she's an Olympic medalist. What else can you ask for? Just amazing, and just looking back at Mexico, already going back 8 sets, that stretches back to their very first match against Germany. They were always like a good set, bad set, good set, bad set. Always this up and down. And then they broke this trend when it mattered most to actually go 1 point beyond what they shot in the previous set, shooting this 57. Just, you know, clinching the medal, shooting 10-10-10. It must be feeling amazing.
Lucy, these athletes live in childhood dreams, getting on the podium, the biggest stage for archery in the world.
Honestly, how amazing. And also, you know, let's bear in mind, you know, Anna was actually working at the World Cup last year because she was injured. She was so injured that she wasn't shooting. She was like working and cheering up the crowd, like cheering on the crowd in Mexico. So to go from that to then come back and vamos, you know, to win, and you could see as well she was pumping up her teammate. And then she had to calm down and be like, oh, I have to shoot now. It's just amazing. So good.
Yeah, and obviously the cheers coming in. Thank you so much for the comments, everybody. The cheers coming in from Mexico. Bronze medal. And like again, from the research that I've been able to do, Bernardo, it looks like that's the first medal of these games for Mexico.
Amazing. It's what you were saying before, right? This is going to grab all the headlines for archery, and it's great. Already such a popular sport. They're so strong in Mexico, but such positive publicity is always good for us, right?
Yeah, it's always good for our sport. Yeah. I mean, tip of the cap to the Netherlands. They did an outstanding job, especially coming from where they came from in the qualification rounds that they had. It was a well-deserved placement for them. Not getting a medal, but still a good showing for them. Okay, here we go. It's this is the match. Number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed. Korea versus China. The athletes are out on the field to play. The gold medal is on the line. How are the butterflies right now, Shawan? How you doing? You chill, relax, you're on vacation.
Yeah, it's actually it's not my business, so.
On our feet, a good look at the crowd attending this women's team final.
Well, I just wanted to say that Vanessa texted me saying that in the pen, in the waiting room, the call room, both Korea and China, they seemed pretty relaxed and they were laughing. So I hope that this is a sign that they're both teams coming in a good headspace to display the best they have. I hope that we have a blistering match, and this is the third time this matchup takes place this year. China won both, and yeah, but this time it's different. This time there are those 5 rings in the bottom of the target that we can see there, and it just can make everything different.
Yeah, I think that this match has that feeling too, where even though we're in a set point scoring system, it feels like every arrow matters. Every point's going to matter in this particular match. It could be the difference too of who comes out the strongest. Who comes out of the gate and is able to grab those first 2 set points could set the tone for the rest of this gold medal match. But the good thing about archery and the good thing about the set point scoring system we have in Olympic recurve is anything is possible. And you could be on your back foot and then find yourself in the lead just like that.
The other thing is,
Lloyd, what do you think? Do you think that the teams are going to keep the same order of which they got them here in terms of shooters?
Yeah, they definitely will. I don't think you never want to change up your teams if you don't have a good reason to, because like I say, that's where they practice. That's what they're used to. That's what they've prepared for. When if you switch order in your teams, you tend to just causes too much uncertainty. You definitely want to go with what you got. But I think what's interesting here, though, if you think about, it's the things you don't want to think about that you just are going to go through your head anyway. And Korea kind of like has everything to lose, where China has nothing to lose. They're been the better team, the dominant team. This could be their 10th, gold medal and everything. To lose this for them is huge, whereas for China to win it is huge. Does that make sense? So that plays on your brain, even though it shouldn't, and you don't want it to. But it's always going to be there in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I mean, there was an interview with Casey Koffel, the American who qualified. She was, I think, 4th in qualifications for these games. And someone asked her about that. It was a local interview that was done in the States, and they asked her about that. And she basically said, look, I don't have a gold medal to give away. It's not, I don't really have anything to lose. I haven't won a medal yet. All I have to do is go out and get it. And that, I think, is one of the unique aspects as well about having a sport, having this sport as a start off with 10 for Korea, is the fact that every 4 years, it's like I've got my medal, but I'm not defending a medal. Like we see in traditional sports, people talk about the defense of this world title or the defense of that. And so I think that that's a great mindset. One drifts wide into the 8 ring.
But it's hard to have, and you don't
final.
want to have that, and you certainly wouldn't say it out loud, but in the back of their mind, it's there, and that's hard. That's really hard, those bugs in the brain.
They've been chased, like media-wise, they've been chased like all year about the fact that, this will be the 10th time that South Korea will win. And these, as you said, like these girls are fresh, they're new, they're only just become Olympians, and they're like, oh, yeah, but we haven't. Yeah. As you're saying, like they haven't actually won it, but it's a huge weight on their shoulders.
Yeah, when you're constantly reminded about something that you're trying not to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pressure.
It's tricky not to think about. Then you have to think first and then try not to think about. So it's really tricky.
And that's the one thing we know about archery.
Archery is really.
It's very
mental,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
That's one of the things, Chewan, that I often talk when people ask me about archery, because my other world is motorcycle racing, a sport that's very reactive. It's very fast-paced. It's very reactive. And people say, "What's the problem with archery?" And I'm like, "Well, your brain gets in the way. You're standing there on the line and you're trying to shoot an arrow, just like the one that was shot, a 10, but yet every now and then your brain, and what you don't know is that when you get older, your brain wanders more." I literally was at full draw one day and thought, did I leave the iron on and shot a 9? And I thought, I haven't used an iron in 10 years. Why would I even think about that? Crazy. What a shot again. So now we're at 10-8, 9-9, 10-10 for Korea. The crowd is going ballistic in this first end of the gold medal match here in Paris 2024. And this arrow right here could force China into 10s. No, it's a 9. So still, though, China has got the door open. With the points they have on the board right now, with a perfect 30, they could take the first 2 points of this gold medal match. 2 9s, and that slips away. Oh, and an 8.
You did it again.
Yeah, my bad. So what you're saying, Lloyd, is I got to start taking responsibility, right? Is that, so an 8 and a 9, and there's not enough points on a 122 centimeter target face, 70 meters downrange for China to win this set. So the first 2 points will go to Korea on the back of a 56-point run in this first 6 arrows of this gold medal match.
I feel like we
But
should
it
have
is
the
not
heartbeat going on
We can't.
for the whole of this
Yeah.
match.
No. Chawan doesn't like that. It drives her crazy. It's like nails on a
Yeah.
chalkboard.
I
Who
think
wants
it's
to hear
getting
nails
hot.
on a
I
chalkboard?
think it's
you
getting
know?
hot.
Yeah.
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 This is how your teammates feeling. There you go.
Mhm.
Oh, there you go.
It's funny actually
Holy.
because people have asked me outside of the sport of archery, like, if people are going to like dope, like illegal drugs, like what would they use for archery? And I'm like, well, a beta blocker will help you because that keeps your heart rate capped at like 145 beats a minute, you know? So
It's too
little
bad they're not
different than-
showing the heart rate. I saw it on a few archers, but I guess they have to give permission. But it'd be really
I would
great
think so.
to see the heart
Yeah.
rate on all the archers.
No way
I-
this
I-
team's given permission to no way that team is.
No,
Yeah.
I wonder, but like, because I remember they had this technology back in Tokyo, and then they were using it only in the individuals because it's like the person needs to be standing longer on the line for the reading to be accurate.
Oh,
And then I was surprised when in this morning they were showing it in the teams, but maybe they just realized that that was too optimistic, and then it'll be back in the individual matches. I wonder.
Hmm.
I did see it this afternoon. I saw it for one of the archers. It popped up.
Was
for a
it
little bit.
Gabby who had it on? I thought somebody.
I'm not sure.
It wasn't anyone from these two teams.
No.
It's a
I
good
reckon
back in
he
Tokyo,
really
I
did
think
perfect.
most people authorized.
Yeah, I don't think any of the coaches from either one of these countries is going to be like, yeah, go ahead, get information on my archer, get data built on him.
But I bet their heart
Yeah, but
rate
if-
is probably like 56. Like, probably won't even change. Like, resting to archery will probably just be the same.
Well, they do have to take 3 steps forward, so maybe. $8-10 so far for China.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
PvP
All right,
popped up.
eating my words. Yeah, the key would be to show data from like the first match of the day to where we are right now. You know, if they're at 75 beats a minute, now they're at 98. Now you're building a story that would make sense.
Yeah.
So 27 for the
And
first
if you
half
get-
for
there it
China.
is.
in
There's the
terms of
heart rate
points.
thing there. 81.
Yeah, there it is. 81.
81,
Ah.
85.
85,
It's
89,
interesting, it's
93.
getting down. Yeah. It's not that high with that pressure.
No, that's actually for in this situation. Mine would probably be about 200 and something.
Yep.
It would just
Yeah, exactly.
Just the whole of
Just
Lloyd,
Oh,
at
yeah.
200
The
beats
whole
per
of your
second, your heart
battery.
is coming out of your chest. Another strong first half for Korea, 29 to 27 with 3 arrows to go in this end. A 2 set point lead for Korea. First of 5 wins gold. No matter how determined that shot was, just drifts low in the gold, but a 9.
Look good though. They
Wind.
look-
So you can see the
They're
wind
confident.
meter right on the feed we're watching is shifting. It was left, then it's to the right. Now it's straight up. It's not very strong. Well, I don't know meters because, you know, I know mile per hour. Doesn't look strong at the moment, but it definitely was swirling around. Okay, so triple nines in the back half for China has them at 54. the Koreans could put themselves with such a massive advantage of a 4-0 set point lead. If they just keep doing what they're doing that got them here. In the gold for 9. I mean, for this end, they just, 2 more in the gold, and it's 4-0.
Ooh. 8.
It's an 8.
Right on the line.
Still with a 10 available. They got 12 points right now on. Ooh.
What are we
still.
saying? Is that a 9 or a 10?
As long as it's in the gold.
9 is a 10.
Oh, I'd say it's a 10.
9? 10?
I think it's
What am I
gonna,
putting
they're
it in
going to
as?
win either way.
Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
but-
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah.
Just so I can plot it. Am I putting it in as 10?
Yeah.
Are you
10.
saying
I
10?
think, I think
Maybe
it's
a
10.
10.
Hold on. Let me check.
I think so.
Yeah. Hard to see. I'll let you know later.
Yeah, we should wait for the
You look
judges'
like
call.
you're 80 when you're doing
Yeah, we'll
this.
wait for the judges' call. That's a good bit of advice right there. We should probably do that.
Consistent
Man,
with the 56s.
I still have to practice today. That messed up my sight.
Keeping an eye on the official scoring, and as soon as it's confirmed, I'll let you know. But I mean,
Okay.
as Lloyd said, doesn't make much of a difference. It's 4-0 for Korea.
Nah, not much.
Yeah. And China not drifting away too much, not dropping a lot of points, but just lacking tens, It's kind of that last 1 or 2% that is missing. And it's so hard to, I don't know, just to make it happen, It's so frustrating when you're like, you want it and you want it and you're putting all the effort, but it's just not enough. And now China on the back foot for sure.
It was a 55.
But Lloyd, when you look at this, if
Oh,
you're...
it was 9.
It was a
It was
9.
9.
See? The glasses don't help. But Lloyd, into this final end, as a coach, are you saying anything to your athletes if you're ahead 4-0? If you're the Korean coach, are you just letting it sit, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't think I'd say anything different whether they were ahead or behind. It's still just go up there and shoot regular old shots. Just, you
Okay.
want to keep them on an even keel. You don't want to... You don't want them to be thinking anything different. It's making sure they're thinking the right thoughts, and you just keep plugging away, just doing what you're doing. They're shooting great right now. The Koreans are always well prepared for this moment. I'm sure they've simulated it many, many times. Maybe they're more prepared for a gold medal match than the others, because you saw them falter quite a few times earlier, although the weather might be getting better as well. But right now, they're just solid. They're on. They had one miss there, but the rest were pretty good.
So for Korea, this could be the final 6 arrows for the women's team finals. The gold medal match is within reach. It's 4 set points to 0. China right now has got to mount the biggest comeback of these 3 archers' career. And the first arrow for China is going to set the tone. 8 left.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's the reaction from the crowd.
China doesn't look like they've given up yet. Look at them. They're really... Their faces show that they're still in the game. And that's important. Because anything can happen.
10
in
is
this
important.
game.
Nail biting, guys.
Another look at the wind. It seems to have really calmed down from matches we've had earlier. Unfortunately for China, another 8 outright. Now, as we get into the final 6 arrows for Korea, they've been dominating in this
And
match.
Korea,
And they keep-
and Korea only need us 1 single set point, so Korea doesn't have to win, just need a tie for win 0 and 8 to start.
Yeah, and that's really important, especially after the first arrow goes 8 for them. in the gold 9. A 9 on this third arrow of 6 will have us tied. Halfway through the match. It's an 8.
Oh.
Ooh. China now
They,
leading.
So add-
scores,
Yeah.
they're like
So
mirroring
a 1
each
point
other.
advantage at the halfway point for China.
So this end could be an
Clock ticking.
opportunity for China.
Really like her
9
shot.
is-
It's so aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to do. Keep aggressive even when you're under pressure. They are shooting strong.
Yeah. So 2 9s in a row.
Really want to see the heart rates again. Oh, 83. There we go. 83 beats per minute, 82.
That's
actually
pretty
not that
calm,
high.
really.
Yeah,
Mine's
it's really calm.
higher than that right now. And I'm just
Yeah.
watching it.
Mine too. Excellent
Oh.
10.
Excellent.
Which
Her
it's the only way to
body,
give
her
yourself a
bow,
shot.
everything was drifting with the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Korea needs 29. It's hard.
Yeah, so that's 9. So we need basically 2 10s in a row.
Or we just go to another end.
Why not? Yep.
Oh,
All right, we're going to another end.
kind of
Yeah,
surprised.
game is not over.
The first two were so good, so strong.
It's not bedtime yet.
Do you think China could take them to a shoot-off?
Sure.
Why not? Yeah. I think Korea team is a little bit now in serious and a little bit stressed. I could see their face.
Mm.
Yeah, but the coach is telling them now, cut that out.
Yeah, it's funny.
And that was
actually,
really
the
my-
China coach is Korean.
Yeah. Yeah. He is.
Oh, the coach for China is Korean?
Yeah, he's Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
But
been
Lloyd,
there
that's
since
why I was
forever.
asking that question earlier, because I think when you have 2 good ends like that and you go up 4 sets to 0, I think the tendency, I mean, for some athletes or some team is to get a little bit ahead of yourself, and to be like, wow, we're cruising, we got this thing under control. And I think that it helps either with teammates or it helps with the coach sometimes. In some of the other sports I've participated in, to just kind of reel them back in and say, don't get ahead of yourselves. This team could come back. This is set scoring. Anything can happen.
Yeah. That's what
Well, I
I
was
tell the
looking-
underdog team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so the
sorry,
number
sorry,
1
I
against number
was-
2 seed, women's team final gold medal match. We're in end number 4. If China wins this, we're going to go 4-4 in set points, and we're going to a shoot-off for gold. That's what I want to see, a shoot-off for gold.
Everything on the line.
And the
I
team
just
in red's
sorry,
gotta
Greg.
get
I
it
just
done.
wanted to say, Korea has just shot their worst end of the whole afternoon. It's the first time they failed to shoot 4 or more arrows in the gold. So momentum on a low for Team Korea, and what a start for China.
Again,
What
as
a
the other
10.
team, you don't want to be thinking about this and you don't want to be watching it, but you definitely notice when the other team shoots a 10 in the middle on their first arrow.
Well, plus
You're
you also
thinking
have
that
to
just
imagine
doesn't
the
give you a
crowd
lot
is
of
reacting
room.
to every single arrow, right, Lloyd? Like, there's just no way to avoid it, especially if there's 8,000 people in the stands.
You also
Yeah.
have on-site commentators, so every single arrow that you get, they are screaming that arrow, like the value. You are fully
Yeah, but-
aware.
How many of these athletes speak French?
Well, they speak English and then French. They'll be speaking English and French. I think a lot of them speak English.
Not the Korean team.
They know what 9 and 10
They know
is.
their numbers.
Oh, that's true. There you go.
There we go. Wonder what she
So
just
we go
told
10-9-9 for China. Korea starts off with a 10 in the first half of this potential final end of competition for the gold medal. As Korea leads 4 set points to 2, 5 wins it.
That looked good.
But an 8 for Korea doesn't have us marching down the seal the deal road at this point.
Yeah, we might get our shoot off for a gold medal. How would that be?
Amazing.
That'd be
Another
exciting.
eight.
Might be happen. Yeah.
Oh.
The possibility
there
of
you go.
shoot-up is getting bigger. Yeah.
Is anyone else sweating? I'm sweating watching this.
I'm nervous.
They look so much calmer than I feel.
Jawan, did you see she grabbed a couple confidence clicks too? After she got done, she was like 1-2. I'm like,
Oh.
at this point in the day, that doesn't do anything. You're just like going, okay, just let me try something different.
Yeah. And China is really good at maintaining their concentration. Really good. Really focused.
All right, so we go 10-8 so far with 1 arrow remaining for China in this fourth end for the gold medal match.
Korea will put in 3 10s to finish, I reckon.
Well, if China shoots a 10 here, then they're going to have to. No, it's a 9.
What's that, 9? Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know, because
Yeah, we'll
Korea
see.
hasn't been shooting that well on this one.
Yeah.
Could be done.
A
We wanna
9,
shoot
10,
tens.
10.
3 10s for the win.
Well, 3 10s and a 9 would give them a tie, and then they would win the gold. So there's the first one.
There is one.
First 10's in.
This is for
Only
the
in
gold.
gold.
Only in gold. For the gold. Ba-dum-boom. Hey.
Nine?
Ooh.
10, 9?
9. 9. It's a 9.
9.
It's a nine.
Yep.
10 to win. Wow, that's
10 to
really
win.
10.
Oh, I feel so bad that she has
Oh
all that
my.
pressure on her. But it's not
I love it.
over.
Dude, a 10 to legend.
Oh no!
An 8.
That,
Oh my.
Ladies, oh, wow.
what a sound.
Our
Man.
producers, what is that?
Doesn't get better than that.
Man.
Tiebreaker.
Doesn't
Gold
get any
medal.
better than that. Exactly, Lloyd.
Wait, let's just bear in mind she's just got the Olympic record, the world record, like the everything record just a few days ago.
Mhm.
I didn't expect that.
No, I don't think that
No,
was
no one
expected out of the
knows.
gold. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Like, so here we are. We're in a situation after official scoring gets confirmed for the gold medal in the women's team finals. We're going to go 4-4 in set points. That means we're going to sudden death overtime. Bernardo, tell us, what are we doing for this last chance?
Only 1 arrow for each archer, so their fates being decided by 1 arrow each. It's going to be alternate shooting, so not the full rotation as we're seeing the regulation sets. It's going to be Korea and then China, Korea, China all the way to the end. Highest sum wins, and if the sums are tied, then the team with the closest arrow to the center wins. It's super exciting. We have a shoot-off once again, and what a shoot-off for gold.
Thank you so much for that. We're excited. Oh boy. This felt like a match coming in that every arrow mattered, and it turns out it did. You can see, if you're watching the feed on the scoreboard, it's 56 points in the first end to 53. Korea, 55 to 54. Looked like they were rolling to victory. China has turned it around, a 54 to 51 win in end number 3, and then a 55 to 53 win in end number 4, and that's where we are, all tied up. Gotta be leaning on your teammates right now to keep it light, I would think. Start talking about
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you gonna have for dinner tonight? What are you gonna have? Well, I've had the salmon every night in the village, so maybe I should just go with the burger. Whatever.
You know what I dreamed of last night? So, this kind of things.
Get some runts, get some candy, get a Snicker bar.
But they do have the individual matches coming up as well later in the week, so they can't take their foot off the gas too much.
I feel like
Definitely
the
not.
Chinese
Yep,
team
yep.
looks a little more confident.
Okay.
Which team?
I feel like China looks a little bit more confident, but again, Korea's got everything to lose. China has everything to win. It's really tough.
Okay.
Oh, that
Come
one.
on.
Great smile.
Nobody's calling that arrow.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Kind of look like a 10, maybe a 9.
Where'd the scoring on TV go?
Oh, well.
That one's less.
Ouch. Yeah, that one's less. Thank you. Exactly right.
Much less.
Oh, their TV scoring quit working.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We need
yeah.
that. We need that heart rate noise.
Just a tad
these
less
arrows.
Okay,
there.
so safety says 2 9s. Okay, safety says 2 9s, although that first arrow could be a 10, but we're going to go with 2 9s as safety. So basically, to tie things up, a 10 is needed here. That's right.
China needs the closest one.
Oh, that's going to be a
Almost on
closest to the center, too.
rider.
That's going to
Yeah.
be
That can
closest
decide the
to
match.
Center.
If the sums are
Yeah.
tied, that can decide the match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be tough.
Yeah, nothing can be better than that. Wow.
Another liner.
Maybe a 10.
We're going to have to wait for judges
Yeah.
to call
Okay.
this.
I think it's a 10
Well,
10.
They
Coach
think
is
they won it.
celebrating. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the coach there on the field has the best spotting scope and usually can call them pretty well.
Agreed. Well,
That's,
Yeah, that's over.
Korea win.
That's over.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
My
Wow.
goodness.
That was good, though. That was
Wow,
entertaining.
that was
What
really
was
a
that?
tight match. Yeah,
mhm.
What
That was
was that?
entertaining.
really,
was
really
good.
tight match.
So
I
what are we
mean,
thinking?
the chances
29
of
to
both those
27.
9s, the chances of both those 9s staying 9s, we still have to be official, because if
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the case, then it looks like China's going to
It's
win with
gonna
that
be
one
China,
arrow. That
yeah,
was like right in the
if they-
center.
Oh, we did it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
measure.
Here- the toughest job in all of archery right now. The gold medal match
don't
in these
think I'd want it.
games, and you got a magnifying glass out that you bought at Walgreens, and you're like, it's
Oh,
Walgreens
this
is like
gonna
some-
be tough. This is gonna be
forget it. That was a very
Cheers
US
or
centric
Show the
tears.
goal.
judge.
cheers or tears. They think they
What
won
are they
it.
saying? What are they saying?
Yeah.
The judge
Yeah,
must
yeah.
have called it.
The judge already
the
called
judge
it.
must have signaled it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Coach has gone
congratulations to Korea on the women's team gold, and
Man.
what was a heart thumper
Oh,
of a match.
Wow.
Man.
That was close. That was close. That's what makes it fun.
Man.
On a packed stadium. Incredible performance. Still so much archery to come later this week. Tomorrow we're going to be here covering this same tournament, but for the men. Later on in the week, we have the mixed team coming up, and then we're going to have individual matches next week that are going to be there as well for the men's and the women's as they wrap things up here in about 6 days' time. But boy, what the expectation was there. The huge matchup didn't disappoint between China and Korea in the grudge match, and Korea comes out on top in a tiebreaker. Wow. Pretty incredible. I don't know. Let's get some comments here. You know, let's start with our expert panel. So Chewan, tell us about the day, about your experience. You've done an awesome job. We appreciate it. But how about that for your country, the big win? How you feeling?
Yeah, of course, I cannot truly deep understand because I'm not in that position. But I've been through with them together. We trained all day, every day, together in the National Training Center, and I could feel that I can even. It's really careful to cheering because could be I could give them pressure. So it was really careful. But now, anyway, it's the first day of the medal match, but it's a really good start for Korea team. So they will get really high experience in the venue. So they could make the rest of the game will be in positive way, and individual and mixed team also, and really positive for the men's team also. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, that was really amazing.
Amazing. 10th consecutive gold. Lloyd, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely were the favorites to go in, but I mean, you did see them falter a little bit there under the pressure, but they shot well enough to get it, and it does seem like they always do, doesn't it? They're tough. They seem well prepared for this, but like I say, I kind of feel bad for them going in there with that. We can't lose this versus we're gonna win this, or so. Yeah, it was a good match. It definitely good TV, a good match to watch, entertaining. I think for anybody, even if they don't know or understand archery, that was just a good show.
Yep, definitely. Lucy, what a day you've done plotting arrows all day. You get to watch some great archery. What are your thoughts about the things that we've seen all day long? Even in the bronze medal match, as well as this incredible gold medal match.
Yeah, I just loved it. Today was really, really good. And yeah, do you know what? I think we also need to recognize that the Korean team are so young. They're so fresh. Like they weren't the team last year. They're a fresh team for this year, and they've just gone out and they're Olympic champions. And what a pleasure to watch. And and I think they just did it on purpose, just to add the pressure for us, really.
Oh, is that what you think? Yeah. That last arrow was just thrown to get to the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I do feel like they just toy with it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like great. Just make you think that maybe you can, but nah.
And Bernardo, what do you think about today's events? And thank you so much for all the statistics you've been keeping, as we get to have you here the whole time that we're involved. So what did you think about today?
I think if all of this, how everything played out this year, if everything was a movie script, we would say, yeah, they're overplaying it. They're just, building the drama. But it's actually what happened. And then to have China dominating over Korea in the beginning of the season, all the doubts, all the question marks hanging over this unexperienced and everything that they were called this Korean trio. And then the gold medal final is Korea v China. Korea are 4-0 up. China doesn't seem to be anywhere to be found. The tables turn. China makes a comeback. It's a shoot-off. It goes down to the wire. It's like, this is the best our sport has to offer, I believe. It's crazy, and Korea keep on writing history. Next time in LA, when anyone has another chance of snatching gold from them, it'll have been 40 years of domination in Olympic archery. This is just mind-blowing.
It's been an incredible day, and I'd like to welcome Simon Fairweather in as well, who's joining us from on-site. So, Simon, what a day of shooting. What a gold medal match that we saw. How has it been from your perspective the entire day?
Well, it's nice to be on the out of the field. I can't imagine how stressful that was for those guys.
And what about the size of the crowd? Have you been involved in it? It looked like by the time we got to this gold medal match, there wasn't a seat in the house that was empty.
It was pretty full, yeah. Yeah, it must have been pretty noisy down on where we were, right at the top of the stands. It was, like I think all the sound was channeled down to the bottom, and it must have been pretty deafening down there, I think.
I'm just curious about the wind, because we had speculation that it got pretty swirly down on the field. Were you noticing flags twisting in different directions at times?
Yeah, I think depending on which direction the wind was coming from, there was a big video screen that was sort of blocking it in some of the regions. But you could see, particularly in the earlier matches today, the bows were moving around quite a lot. Probably worse on the inside of the field, I think. I was looking, listen, he was sitting just in front of me, and he made the observation that a lot of the first shots for each end went left, quite a lot left. And he was suggesting that maybe archers were thinking that they were doing good shots, but because they were maybe a bit nervous and taking too long, that was causing the left shots. The information that they might have been passing on to their teammates was that there's a left wind, blowing to the left. And so the next arrow was matching distance to the right. So they may have been getting the results for wind rather than, nerve. He felt that really there was very few circumstances where he wouldn't be choosing to just aim straight down the middle.
Yeah, that'll be a good advantage too for the countries that are in it today to give that information to the teams that are going to be shooting tomorrow. I would imagine if we have similar wind conditions. Well, tell us, Simon, where else can we see coverage that you're providing for these games?
We're doing that morning of the croissants with World Archery. Vanessa Lee and I are doing that, so that'll be each morning going forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate the insight, and we'll make sure to tune in the morning to your show. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, enjoy.
All right, cheers, mate. All right, Simon Fairweather joining us here, and that's going to wrap up our coverage from today. Any final thoughts from anyone on the panel about today?
What a start! What an absolute start! I can't wait to see all of the matches coming throughout the rest of the week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look, I just want to thank each and every one of you on the panel for your. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the week as well. Look, thank you so much to the panel for your contributions. We're going to see some of you back here in action during the course of tomorrow and then the days ahead, which are going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll have coverage as well when we get to the mixed team and the individual matches. Sochia Wan, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate it. And we hope you enjoyed the coverage. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments and any of your questions. And if you could think of more, you make sure you join us same time, same channel tomorrow. For all of us here, Archery in Paris Watch Along, we appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.